with me reading all kinds of books about Zen Buddhism. I read the Bible a lot. The New Testament, the Old Testament, not so readable. I tried the Quran, more unreadable. Had questions, lots of questions, and then I found a book by Srila Prabhupada. All questions answered. It was amazing. So I thought, okay, my plan was, I'm gonna go to the Himalayas. I'm gonna go to Schloss Rettershof. For you who are a little older, you know Schloss Rettershof. And the plan was to, this is your cup. Put it there so that maybe I put it behind you here. No dust goes into. So in the book, the book I found, there was an address given, and that shows how. It's one proof how important addresses are in the books. And it said an address in Frankfurt, so I hitchhiked to Frankfurt from the commune in Bavaria, here somewhere not far from here. I hitchhiked to Frankfurt to that address. I rang the bell. An angry man appeared and he said, "They're not here anymore." He figured out immediately that I was looking for the Hare Krishnas. He said, I said, "Where are they?" He said, "I don't care." I said, "Come on, tell me." And he told me where he said, the Schloss Rettershof, the Taunusstein or something like that. Okay, so where is that? Yeah, you'll figure it out. Okay, and then I figured it out and I went to Schloss Rettershof. And the plan was to buy all the books that we had in German, that were available, that the Hare Krishna movement had in German at that time. And then I would go into the Himalayas to read the books. That was the plan. Okay. It didn't exactly work out as planned. It was a little more difficult. I went to Schloss Rettershof, and I arrived there around 2 o'clock. When is the fruit offering? When was the fruit offering in Schloss Rettershof? 3, 4 o'clock? 4 o'clock. So I must have arrived just before 4 o'clock. This was 1979 or 80. I think it was 1979. 79. I think it was 79. I'm pretty sure it was 79. And okay, so Haribol Narhari. And the plan was to buy all the books. Okay, but you can buy the books later. First, take the fruit offering. That was fantastic. Okay, so then stay for Gora Arti. Okay, that didn't really plan to do that. I just want to buy the books. Now stay for Gora Arti. Okay, but when will I then get the books? Yeah, then you get the books. Okay, why don't you stay overnight? Okay, where do I stay? Oh, they're in the dormitory up there. So I went up to the dormitory. They gave me a place. I had a sleeping bag with me and a big backpack because I thought I'm gonna bring all the books to the Himalayas, right? So, well, it didn't exactly work out that way. I rolled out my sleeping bag. I lay down. It was evening, and a devotee, I don't remember who it was, I realized something was not right. And he ran there was a glass box. There was the Bhakta leader had his own room, like a glass box in the dormitory. It was Bhakti Bhushan Swami. His name at that time was Suchandradas, that's right. And he asked me to come. He said, "Get up, come to my glass box." I came to my room. I came in. What is it? Well, you have a Mayavadi Gita on you. Excuse me, what's a Mayavadi Gita? I had this little reklam, the yellow Gita, and one devotee spotted it while I was lying down. Maybe I had it outside, I don't remember. Okay, so I was not eligible to buy the books. And I was put in a transporter, into a van, brought into about 5 kilometers into the forest. It started raining like anything. Oh, wait, important part. On the way out, a young lady, the reception, her name was Bhaktin Rose, who later became Rashtrapalika Devidasi. She said, hey, come here. I can give you the books anyways. Come with me into the cellar. And she gave me the books. I paid her. I'm forever grateful to her. And I had the books, but I had to leave because I had a Mayavadi Gita on me. And the second time I came, so I didn't go to the Himalayas immediately. And then I came here to this place. Soon after, not long after that, not long after Schloss Rettershof, I came to this place. There was no temple. This was a big barn. And I came with my friend Lucius. You remember Lucius? Oh my God. So I came with Lucius. We arrived here and we said, hello. Nobody answered. There was nobody. Then we walked around, and that entrance down there where one can go to the bathrooms now, there was a door, an opening, and there was a light bulb inside, and it looked like a cow barn. And it was the cow barn. And here comes the interesting part. Lucius and me, my friend and me, we approached this, we came to this door, and then from the shadow behind, must be underneath here somewhere, a devotee walked in orange, clad in orange, walked towards us and said, hello. Oh, nice. And then what does he do? He goes, he approaches us, he comes in this direction, and he goes with his hands on the floor into a fresh heap of powder. And he smeared it. And he said, oh, this is so good. This is so healthy. You cannot imagine. This is miracle. This is a miracle. And I'm sure, he's right, but I didn't understand that. And my friend Lucius absolutely didn't understand it. He ran. He said, I'm out of here. He said, Don, you can stay. I don't care. I'm out of here. Okay, he left. I stayed. And so that was my first interaction with this temple. There was another problem. I was asked again to stay overnight. And the Brahmachari ashram was in this building over there. I was, here's your Brahmachari ashram, you can stay overnight. And here's a plate of prasadam for you. Okay, thank you very much. And then they left. I was alone in the Brahmachari ashram. So as I had read in the Bhagavad Gita, you have to offer your food. I was completely new. I didn't know anything. So I put my Gita that I got in Schloss Rettershof in front of myself in this little table, and I put this plate of, I didn't know it was prasadam, food, in front of it, and I thought I'm going to offer it. I didn't bring it today. Do I have it? No, I don't think so. I think I got rid of it. At this time, oh, probably, but I didn't bring it here. I didn't bring it. I thought I better don't bring it. That got me in trouble. Anyways, this time it was prasadam that got me in trouble. Because now, okay, 5 minutes later, the door flings open, and it was the temple president, Kriparama Prabhu, who freaked out. Do you think that you can offer Bhoga better or prasadam better to Krishna than we do? This is already offered. This is the greatest offense that you can ever do. Out with you. So, okay, I thought that's amazing. The second time I enter a temple, okay, I'm leaving again. But it all worked out with Bhakti Bhushan Swami. We became friends afterwards. No problem. At least I didn't experience anything. And then in 1981, I came back from the Himalayas. It was not what I expected. You can't just go to the Himalayas, sit down and read books. In case of you who want to try that, it's not a good idea. Do it here, do it now, do it today, don't do it tomorrow. Read the books today, not tomorrow, not next week. Because you might be up there and have 50 kids around you. Chewing gum, mister, chewing gum, chewing gum. That's the only word they knew, chewing gum. And they wouldn't leave me alone. I couldn't read, really. Anyways, long story. In the end, I joined. In 1981, I joined. And soon after, I was asked by my temple president, Ashok Kumar. He said, have you ever, you studied arts and design. Do you know something about filmmaking? I said, yeah, a little bit. He said, here's professional equipment. A Panasonic, a huge camera, shoulder-mounted, gigantic camera, and the recorder here, and a microphone, and all kinds of things. And you're going to go to the German farm, and you're going to film the installation festival of Lordnessingative. Okay, all right, let's do that. The only thing you must not forget is never point the video camera towards a strong light or the sun because you ruin the camera. At that time, cameras couldn't accept that. The tube in there, if you would point it once to the sun, you can throw this thing away. Okay, good. And I didn't. Actually, I managed to avoid the sun. But I did not come here on the first day of the festival. So I was asked to moderate this, so I will ask questions, especially the ones that I want the answers to. Because there are many things that I don't understand, or that I don't know. So if you allow me to ask the first question, how did this idea of installing Lordnessingative in Germany come about? Who knows that? Is there anyone here in the panel who knows that part of the history? Whose idea was it?
I know something, but maybe such.
Are you interested in that question? Yes. I am very interested. I have a few more that I'm very interested in, which I do not know the answers to. So,
I remember after some difficulties began to accumulate in Germany. We were very much misunderstood. There was a lot of propaganda done by one newly created division of the Protestant Church.
How were they called?
Yes, irgendwas Weltanschauungsstelle. Weltanschauung is a word you may know, the perspective you take towards the world. Worldview, the worldview. And we were not in the Christian fold, clearly, so we were an enemy. And there was this department created to deal with us and other spiritual movements. There was a lot of propaganda against us, and it resulted, as far as I remember, in an investigation by a state's attorney who wanted to make his name, let us say, known by there was a priest, Mr. Haag, and then a state's attorney. And there was a lot of difficulty from this government persecution. It started with religious persecution by a religious institution, and then swept over into a government investment.
Maharaj, I would like to interrupt for a second. Can we ask the devotees who are not in here, the ones who are on the stairs with the children, to go a little bit over there to the tent? It's really nice there at the tent, because it's a little loud, it's hard to concentrate. I don't know how it is for you. So if it's a little quieter from that over there, that would be really, really nice. So sorry about that, Maharaj.
Thank you. So those of you who are still outside and want to come inside, please do now. And those who wish to have other programs, please do so at another place. So yes, so that
That's right.
He is the Lord will be with you everywhere, wherever you are. So good. So there was Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Good. So there was a lot of misunderstanding, first by the Protestant Church and then by the government, which led to a court case actually. And it was not nice for the devotees outside. I remember even myself, I was once in the Berlin temple, and we were reading from the Bhagavatam. Jaigora was there, myself, and at the end we paid our obeisances. At exactly that moment, shots came through the glass window, which were aimed at us, but they had not calculated the devotional element.
Where was that? Where was that? In which temple?
In Berlin.
In Berlin. So you were paying obeisances while the shots
came. They were aiming at us while we were sitting and reading the scripture and shooting. But at that moment, we paid our obeisances. So Lordnessingative was in our heart, most probably directing us. We tried to start a police investigation about these assassins, you can really say, but it did not go very far, the investigation. You can see from this little example, there was trouble, a lot of trouble, a lot of hostility against the devotees, and we could tell you many stories how bad it was, but I think this one is enough. So we wrote to Srila Prabhupada, and his letter came back, and you can find it in the new book of prayers, that your struggle against, your struggle in Germany is like the struggle of Prahlad Maharaj. Wow. And against Hiranyakashipu. And then we got the idea, well, Prahlad took shelter at Lordnessingative, his lotus feet. Then Hansa Duda at that time wrote to Prabhupada about if we could install Narasimhadev, and a letter came back, which you can also find in the new book, that yes, you can install him, but he must have his temple. So he must have his own temple, yes. So then we started to look out for this place. There was another factor also. We were talking a lot at that time about self-sufficiency. And the reason why we talked about it is that we could see the development of the Western civilization. There would be economic problems. And then some, you would say them now, Verschwörungsdevotees, some conspiracy devotees thought, well, the world war will soon come. And everyone got the idea because it came from the leader. And then we thought that's another reason why we should have our own place. But the main reason was the idea of self-sufficiency. It was not because we were afraid of war, although some devotees had this idea also, who were in the leading role. So yes, so we got this farm because we wanted to bring Lord Narasimhadev. We needed a temple for Lord Narasimhadev, and we also wanted to be self-sufficient, to just, cultivate our own spiritual society, independent from the modern economic system or political system. And that's why, yes, we, Kriparama Prabhu, Ashok Kumar, and myself, we were given this duty to how do you say, to get a farm and to also collect for it. No problem. These were the old times. So we went all over Germany, and we found it was a long investigation, at least for my mind it was very long. We would read newspapers, and then we eventually landed in Bavaria, and how we found this place is a separate story. But that is why we wanted a temple for Lord Narasimhadev. Yes, that is confirmed.
The next question would be,
well,
Krishna Kirtan Maharaj.
There's a bit more to
Please
say.
tell us.
Some of which I spoke of this morning. You weren't here. But kind of footnote to this point about a sense that, a serious cultural and everything collapse was coming, is this was 1979. There was a novel that had been written some decades before by, what was his name? It became very famous. Yes, George Orwell wrote a novel called 1984. And that had a lot of influence. We actually felt like 1984 is coming soon. And it just could be that it all, that what he wrote in this novel could all take place. So this was what Satchidananda Maharaj said. This was, you could say, the bigger picture, the bigger context. And then there was the internal, something of the internal context I mentioned, that today we have the original deity of Prahlad Nrsimha, Chota Prahlad Nrsimha, in the front on the left. You can later go up and look. He has not been here for I don't know how many years. 20 years.
Where has he been?
He's worshipped very nicely in the home of Shimantadvip Das and Apsara Kunda Devi Dasi, who I think are here. And they've kindly brought the deity here for us to have darshan. So the point is that this deity was given to Harikesh Swami in Mayapur. It must have been Gaur Purnima 1979, as best I can remember. I was there with him. And at that time he was quite taken that, oh, this is significant. Narasimhadeva has come, we must worship him. So we started worship, and he was always with us as we traveled. And then as the discussion came about who should be the deity to be worshipped in the new farm, which by that time had been found, the question was which deity, and it didn't seem like a very difficult decision. Here was Chota Prahlad Nrsimha, sort of quietly looking at us and saying, well, like shrugging his shoulders, isn't it obvious? We should have. And at that time, as I remember, the idea was that the deity that should be worshipped should be 2 meters tall.
Okay.
He should be quite a bit bigger than Narasimhadeva actually is. But that was the decision. Little Chota Prahlad Nrsimha was already being worshipped, and we heard this morning from Gourd Keshava Prabhu that that's actually a tradition of the Pancharatrika system, Balalaya. Balalaya.
You start with small and you...
Yeah, yeah. Start small and build it.
But here's a follow-up question, a direct one. I have heard that the form of Prahlad Nrsimha, where Prahlad sits on the lap of Lord Narasimhadev, is very, very rare or even unheard of.
Do you want to give a summary of what we discussed this morning on that point?
Oh, you already discussed all this here today?
Yeah, this morning we were talking about this, and Swamiji mentioned that he had gone to see M.R. Sampat Kumar Bhattacharya, who had installed the deities of Sri Sri Radha Madan Mohan at the Nampally Station Road ISKCON Hyderabad temple in 1976 in Janmashtami. So Prabhupada really liked the way that they did that. He liked the way that Sampat Kumar installed the deities and wrote him a very nice letter, which he was very proud of, and framed and put on his wall. And Prabhupada mentioned also that the real sacrifice, of course, is the chanting of the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra in this age. But your sacrifices were very nice, and thank you very much. And so Swamiji was encouraged to go and see him because Prabhupada respected him as an authority in these sort of things. So he showed a picture of Prahlad Narasimha and just asked, is it okay? Because normally we don't see this form described in Shastra, either in Shilpa Shastra or in Pancharatra Shastra.
Right.
So, according to Swamiji, he said this morning that Sampat Kumar said, this is very interesting. And he thought about it and he said, this is a very interesting form. But no problem, there's no problem. And then I added this morning that there are different ways that we can worship Lakshmi. Lakshmi is not always, of course, Lakshmi is always the consort of the Lord, like Radha Krishna, Lakshmi Narayana, Sita Ram. They're always united. They're always together. And we always worship them as divine couples. So they're always considered, maybe in Leela sometimes we think of Radha Krishna or Sita Ram being separated. Even Lakshmi Narayana is being separated in Leela. But in Tattva they're always united, they're always together. So there are different ways to worship Lakshmi with Narayana. So sometimes, like in Sri Rangam, she has a completely separate deity room.
Wow.
So they have one deity room for her, and sometimes the ladies, they have a separate room, right? And another time, that is called Veer Lakshmi. When the deity of Lakshmi is worshipped with, standing next to, or sitting on the left knee of the Vishnu deity, that is called Yoga Lakshmi. So Veer Lakshmi, Yoga Lakshmi. And then there's also this Bhoga Lakshmi where she is manifest, sort of unmanifest to our eyes, but she is there on the right side of the chest as a Srivatsa. We all know about this Srivatsa curl or mole on the right side of the Lord's chest. So here, Lakshmi is like that. She's on the right side of his chest. So her place is empty. Her place on the left knee is empty. So Prahlad can take that place. There's no problem with that.
Thank you very much. And in the Srimad Bhagavatam, it is said that Lord Narasimhadeva raised Prahlad in the 7th canto, I think it's the 9th chapter. Narasimhadeva raised him and then put his lotus hand on his head. Does anyone know how he raised him? Is there any... Did he put him on his lap? It is very likely, no?
Very likely.
In Brihad Bhagavatamrita, which is like a explanation to the Bhagavatam, it is said he put him on his lap and licked him.
Oh. Okay. So then how was the deity commissioned? Who was involved? And is this Akila Prabhu? Akila Prabhu, Hare Krishna, Hare Bol. So long we haven't seen each other. Hare Bol. So how was the murti? Is it true that a deity before installation is called bimba? Is that a correct word? I heard that word.
Okay, so in Sanskrit there is bimba and pratibimba. Bimba means a form, pratibimba means a reflection. So when you look in the mirror, you see yourself, or you see your body when you look in the mirror. So you are the form, and the form in the mirror is called pratibimba, bimba pratibimba. So yes, the deity before installation looks like God, looks like the icon, looks like the deity of God, but it's not the deity. It's not yet the deity of God. It's not yet prepared to be an instrument for God to reciprocate with us. God is everywhere, so God is also in the deity which is not installed, but He hasn't agreed to reciprocate with us. In installation, we ask the Lord to accept worship through that form and accept whatever we offer to Him, good or bad. If we offer something good, we hope we get some reaction like that. If we offer something bad, if we make some mistake, then we have to be prepared because we've made this compact, we've made this agreement with Him. Okay. This is installation.
So how was
Ashtarata Prabhu was sent to India.
Okay.
Commissioned to find someone, as I know, maybe others can help with this. He first went to Delhi, and there he met, what is his name? I was trying to remember. He was Tulsi Das originally. Ditya, I don't know. One devotee from Kerala. And this devotee, who has now been in England for many, many years, said, yes, we can arrange. So together they went, I guess they flew to Cochin, and from there they went to, what is that city? No, they went to Ernakulam. They went to Ernakulam, where is, I believe it's the Kerala Government Crafts Institute, and there they were able to place an order for the deity. And And this would have been early 1980, I believe. And in those days in India, to order anything in India, you sort of had to have a certain feeling of detachment, that you may or may not ever get what you've ordered.
Yes.
And if you get what you've ordered, it might not be what you ordered.
It is still like that.
And, well,
It's
but here's the thing with Narasimhadeva. So we ordered, the deity was ordered, Ashrada Prabhu resumed his pujari service to Shri Radha Madan Mohan. And in a sense, not that we forgot about it, but there was a sense like, anyway, that's going to be a few years probably before he comes. And then one day we got a call. And the call was it from the post office? I don't know. They called
probably a shipping company.
a shipping company, and they said, we have your shipment. And, where are you? Because this was a little obscure. How do you, I think they found their way to Yandelsbrunn, but then they didn't know how to go further. And there's some details which I don't remember, perhaps others of you remember, but the point I would make here is, from the day Ashrada Prabhu left Germany to order the deity, to the day the deity arrived in a big wooden box here, was 14 months.
That's very fast.
And this wasn't, they weren't buying an already existing deity.
That's very fast.
Yeah. First they had to search for living stone,
Yes.
right? You have to have living stone. You
You
don't.
can't just use any granite or so.
Huh?
3 stones. 3 stones, because the deity is actually 3 stones. There is Prahlad Narasimha. There is the altar, the pitam, that he sits on. And in between, there is another stone called the Brahmashila. So the deity has to be made of male stone. The pitam has to be made of female stone. And the middle one has to be made of neuter stone. And don't ask me. It's a long explanation how to tell the difference. Wow.
Yeah. So that's.
But they're all one now. They're all together.
Now there's some story. Maybe someone knows that when the delivery truck came and they were waiting to get information how to get to this Nummer 20, Zielberg 20, something about the driver was really in quite some anxiety. Like, I have to unload this this delivery because it's burning or something.
Yes. Well, the shipment arrived in Bremen, and from Bremen there was a truck shipping company, or they had truck drivers, and the truck made it up to Passau. But then the driver got so anxious. It was as if someone was breathing in his neck with a hot breath. and yes, Passau. No, Passau. And then I believe it must have been, one of the warehouses where this company was depositing their items. So he just quickly unloaded Narasimhadeva without making the extra 40 kilometers from Passau to here, and phoned us, and then we had to get this deity from Passau and bring him here. And the only way we understood it was that Lord Narasimhadeva wanted to be gotten by his devotees and not a truck driver who has no faith.
Very, very plausible. So before that moment, who of the panelists were here already at that time? Madonna Lhasa, you were here at that time? You came later. Yeah, she needs the microphone. She came later.
Yeah,
You came later?
I came later, after I was in the BBT Heidelberg.
When did Narahari, when did you come here?
You came earlier.
Yes, I can.
So you were here when Lord Narasimhadeva arrived?
Yes.
You were here. Akila Prabhu, you were here already? Yeah. Also? Anyone else of the panelists? Anyone else here in the audience? Krishna, you were also here. Okay. Wow. Okay. So who can tell us how Lord Narasimhadeva arrived here? Who has memory of that day when the box arrived?
I just have memory of a big box that was kind of just put on this side, on the
Outside?
outside on the pavement, sort of as I remember, more or less between this building and the apartment building there, just sort of like boom, there he was.
Okay.
Just a box, was a big box, big,
Was it
very
was it
heavy box. Well, maybe, but I didn't perceive.
So how did Gaurakeshava Prabhu got involved then? How did that happen?
Okay, I'm not quite sure I remember exactly, but I was in South India studying Pancharatra, and somehow, I'm not sure whether it was Harikesh or someone, got in touch with me and said, we want you to come to Germany and to install a deity.
How did you feel about it?
No, I felt it's fine, and I told my teacher that, look, we've been doing all this theoretical work, studying, but here's a practical application. So instead of teaching me in general, you got in touch with me, right?
I guess so,
Yeah.
because I had somehow I heard about what you were about. And I thought, yeah, he must be the right one. And so somehow we found everything out. And yeah.
Was there a learning curve for a Narasimhadev installation, or is it generic?
No, I think, of course, there are definitely some general rules for installing, especially Vishnu Tattva deities. So I knew all those things, and then specifically I asked my teacher, okay, are there some special mantras, some special procedures for Narasimha, for Lord Narasimha? And I showed him the picture. They sent me a picture, which I still have, a Polaroid, I believe.
A photo of the deity, of the Murti.
Yeah. And I showed it to him. Yeah, if we can see that. No.
No, that's a little
this is
later. That's later.
It's much later. Anyway, so
you had to learn things specifically for this installation?
Yeah, well, there were some mantras and things like that. One thing that we had to do was, after knowing all the theory, they told me they want to do everything as authentically as possible, just like in South India. So, of course, you collected lamps and a lot of paraphernalia, and you made jewelry and all these things. But there were still some things for the installation which I had to get. So I went. I went to Udupi, to my favorite paraphernalia shop, Radhakrishna Pai and Sons, which is just next to the Udupi temple. And I bought an umbrella. I bought these what we call gindis, or spouted water pots. A couple of them. I bought a big Panchapatra in copper, which I still have in Hawaii, and I bought several. Then I went to Chennai, which was called Madras in those days, to Flower Bazaar, and I bought pots, copper pots, for all of the Mahakumbha, Upakumbha that we saw. There were some small things I had to do. I had to get some very strange things. You have to buy some herbs and spices, So you have this thing called pulugu, which is actually an animal product, which comes from the civet cat, like musk. Like musk comes from the musk deer, so you get these things. And so I had to make a list, and I had to get, this is what we call samagris or ingredients. So I had to do that. The last thing I had to get was I had to get a yantra. I had to get a...
What is a yantra?
A yantra is a two-dimensional, if you see here on the wall here, we have it's a Shri yantra, which has to do with Shakti, has to do with different energies of the Lord. And it involves so many different intersecting triangles. But usually we see a yantra is maybe a satkona, which is a six-pointed star inside of with maybe a lotus inside of it or outside of it with 8 petals. And then these gates and doors around, and there'll be certain mantras which are written on that.
But physically, what did you need to get? Was
So
it a copper plate?
Yeah,
or
physically it should be a copper plate with certain diagrams and mystical diagrams inscribed on it, and certain mantras of the deity which you're going to install, and then the deity will sit on that.
Oh.
The deity will sit on that and you have to install it before you install the deity, and you have to worship it for some time. And there's a very interesting story about how I did that, because I asked my teacher, Vasudeva Bhattacharya, who is a professor of Pancharatra Agama at Maharaja Sanskrit College in Mysore, and I asked him, I said, can you make this for me? And he said, yeah, you need 2. You need one for under the deity, and you can have an extra one for the outside, and it can be worshipped also on the outside. It's a two-dimensional deity, basically.
Do we have this here?
We do.
Do we have 2?
We have one outside, and one is, of course, underneath the deity.
Where is outside in this case?
Is it there?
Outside, you mean on the altar?
Still
on the altar.
Yeah,
okay.
If you see at the feet of Lord Narasimha, just near his right foot, on our left side, between the mace and him, there's a yantra.
Okay.
That yantra is a Narasimha yantra. On the other side, I believe there's a Sudarshana yantra. Yeah, which we do use for some.
And you had to get gemstones and things.
Yeah, I had to bring. That's part of the samagris. You have to go to a shop and you just say. They sell small chips of gemstones. Sometimes when I do installations, devotees will give more valuable gemstones to put under deities. But if it's not available, then you can buy, even for very little money, you can buy the chips of the stones. It's enough. It can be done. So there are certain spices and stones and precious metals and turmeric paste that you put in the Brahma Shila, which is in the middle between the deity and the pitam. So the deity, underneath Lord Narasimha's base, there's a piece that sticks down, square piece that sticks down. And in the altar, the pitam, made of granite, there's a square hole. Inside the square hole, you can take out, there's a square piece of granite with 9 holes, 3 by 3. And you put turmeric in there, and you put there's a thing called Pita Ratna Nyasa, which is, Nyasa means to place, Pita means the altar, Ratna means the jewels. So Pita Ratna Nyasa. It is only done for immovable deities.
And this is forever sealed, right? This is now...
Yeah, of course. If there's if an immovable deity somehow has to be moved, then the altar has to be rejected, and it has to be done again. So you have to get a new
you cannot move the altar. You cannot.
You're supposed to get a new one.
Okay.
Yeah, according to Hari Bhakti Vilas and Pancharatra, you're supposed to. Yeah, the deity can be reinstalled.
Right.
But the altar has to be changed.
So you were commissioned to install.
So the thing about the yantra was, I asked my teacher to make that for me.
Okay.
Yeah. He said, I'm too busy. He said, I'm very busy, I've got my temple and I've got this. So I said, okay. So he said, there are other Pancharatrans. You can go and ask somebody who's not so busy. So I went and I found Sanpat Kumar Bhattacharya's brother was a man called Parthasarthi Bhatta. He was a big Brahmin, has a big beard and everything. He is a Narasimha Upasaka.
Wow.
So I thought this may be a nice person to get from. So I went and I approached him and he said, yeah, I'll do for you, I'll make for you. He himself worships a Narasimha Meru. A Meru is a 3-dimensional yantra. It looks like a pyramid. So, and it has inscribed on it Narasimha mantras and other Vishnu mantras. with elephants and sheshas in the corners. And it's
If
very
you look
nice.
from the top, it probably looks like a two-dimensional.
Yeah,
yantra.
from the top it looks
Yeah.
like that, but from the
Right.
side it's like Meru means mountain.
Right.
So, okay, so and Astalakshmi, 8 Lakshmis, he worships along with that. So I knew him because when I traveled with Sampad Kumar Bhattacharya learning, he would always come along, and all of the other priests we would all give our personal deities to him, and he would worship them while we are doing the ceremonies. So I went to him and I asked him for that. So then he said, okay, we'll do this, we'll install this, we'll worship it for some time, 40 days or something, and you come after 40 days and I'll give it to you. So after 40 days I came there and I asked him for it. He said, oh, very nice. He put some kumkum on it. It was on his altar, it had been worshipped, and he gave it to me. So I said, thank you very much. But when I looked at it, I saw it's not, because he didn't know that I can read Devanagari, I could read Sanskrit, and even in different scripts. So he gave me this yantra, and I looked at it and said, thank you very much, Swami. But when I went outside, I took it to my teacher, and I said, is this correct? Because I knew it looked like a simple Sudarshana yantra, which you can buy in the market. You don't have to make it specially. It's off the rack sort of thing, right? Ready to wear. That
Yeah,
one. Yeah.
yeah. Off the
Prêt à
shelf.
porter, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so off the shelf, yeah. So I wanted something special, and I didn't get it. But anyway, I paid for it. So then I went to my teacher, and he said, no, this is not correct. He said, you can keep this one, you can use this one. You can put it underneath the chakra on top of the temple.
Is it?
Yeah, it was, yeah. I don't know if it is today. I think we replaced the chakra at one point. So I think we kept the same yantra as there. Should be. So anyway, my teacher said, okay, finally, I'll make it for you. I'll make it for you. So then he did it. He took the time out and did it.
Wow.
And gave me these 2 yantras, and we installed them, and we did worship on them and everything like that. And then he gave them to me before going to Bombay and flying to Frankfurt. And he said, one more thing. When you go, because his family temple is a Hanuman temple, Kalyanjanaya Swami Devasthanam in Mysore Road in Bangalore. It's a self-manifest Hanuman deity, but they have Vishnu deities there also. And he said, one more thing, because you're going to foreign country and you're flying. So one more thing, you have to take a lemon.
A lemon.
You have to take a lemon. They have little lemons in India. So he said, come with me into the deity room. We went very close to Kalyanjanaya Swami. And he took a lemon, and he took some of the sindoor, which is that orange paste that goes on the Hanuman, and they put on the lemon. And then he offered dhupam to the incense to Kalyanjanaya and smoked the lemon. So after smoking the lemon in the incense, he gave me the lemon. And he said, now, you keep this lemon in your pocket. You go to Germany and you do that and come back and give me the lemon back.
Wow.
Right?
This morning, after the Abhishek, half a lemon flew across the room, and I caught it. It also had orange paste on it.
Maybe.
Was that also such a lemon?
Maybe.
Should I keep that in my pocket?
Maybe.
Okay.
Sometimes when people come to the temple, if they have some mental distress or something, the pujari will take a lemon and offer to the
There was a garland. I think it was
Yeah, there was a garland.
a lemon
yeah.
garland.
There are many different types of garlands that
Okay,
we offered here,
okay.
not just flowers.
So it was not a lemon like the one.
Yeah, it was a lemon like that, sure.
Oh, okay.
It's a lemon, it's offered to the deity.
Okay.
It's a prasadam lemon.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you bring it back to India?
I did bring it back to him.
Fantastic.
And he said to me, when you bring it back, I will know how successful the ceremony has been.
Wow. And what was his assessment?
If the lemon rots, if the lemon dries up and rots, it's probably 1 week or 10 days it was going and coming, maybe a week, I think, not more than that. And if it gets all moldy and everything like that, then what can we say about the ceremony? If it's perfect when it comes back, maybe a little bit dehydrated, it's perfect ceremony, very good ceremony. So it was very nice.
Wow. So
And
you brought back a really nice lemon.
I brought back, I was not afraid of anything happening here. The only thing I was afraid of was that lemon. So what will happen with that lemon?
Did you have it in your pocket?
I kept it very safe the whole time.
Okay.
Yeah. But another thing happened when I came back. When I came back to Bangalore, I came back to ISKCON Bangalore Temple. It was in west of Gourd Road at that time before they got the Hare Krishna Hill. It's a very small house. And I was very tired, so I just came back. And then one friend of mine, Kaviraj, is a Prabhupada disciple, he said to me, "Do you know what happened while you were away?" And I said, "No." And he said, "Do you know Parthasarathy Bhatta?" I said, "No, I know Parthasarathy Bhatta. He was the one who gave me the Sudarshana Yantra and told me it was a Narasimha Yantra. You know, my teacher said, don't say anything to him, but my teacher was his teacher in Gurukula, and he said he was not a very good student. So, but he doesn't want to say, he said, I don't want to say anything bad about him, but he didn't give you the right thing, like that." And then when I came back, Kaviraj said to me, "He's dead, he died."
Oh, wow.
He's a Narasimha Bhakta,
Wow.
and he was asked to do something for a Narasimha installation, and he did something a little bit wrong, and he was dead.
Wow.
And I said, "When did he die?" The exact same day.
As the installation.
Yeah. And I couldn't believe that. So I went to my teacher. And I said to Vasudeva Bhattacharya, "Look, this happened. He died. And the same day that we did the Pratishta, he died."
Wow.
And he said, "Okay, but we should not say bad things about Vaishnavas. We should not think bad things." Anyway, he's gone to Narasimha. He's with Narasimha now, so that's all.
Okay, let me ask Akila Prabhu. He was here before the installation happened.
Yeah.
How was it here? What do you remember of the time just before and then in September 1982?
The time before.
Were you nervous?
No.
Big festival
I was
coming?
busy.
You were busy.
Before, you mean right before the...
Yeah, right before the installation.
The time before, the time, first the Radha Madam Mohan came here. Krishna Kshetra Maharaj and Astarata, they were worshipping them in the building over there.
Okay. Oh, in the other building?
Yes.
In this building over there?
For about 2 years.
Oh, I think it wasn't the bottom floor, right?
Right.
On the right side.
Yeah, that was
Yes,
the altar.
that was the temple room.
That was the altar room. And
Yes.
Krishna Kshetra Maharaj and Astarata, they were doing everything, all the pujas, they were cooking all the offerings, isn't it, Maharaj? Okay, at least the hearsay is there. And then, we knew that Narasimhadeva is there in this room, in the box.
What was this temple already built like this?
No, this temple had to be, how would I say, renovated. It got renovated.
Was it already a temple? It was the temple for Radha Madan Mohan.
It was a barn completely rotten.
Oh.
The roof was sunk in almost to the ground.
Wow.
And the devotees, they didn't get a real permit to build something new. So they asked if they could renovate the roof. And so now it comes out. Somebody
Verjährte Information.
Somebody somehow had a Drahtseil,
A wire, a steel wire?
a steel wire rope, and somehow he put it there on the outside, and he pulled a little, and then the whole thing collapsed. Unfortunately.
You mean he took a tractor and pulled a little bit?
Yes, yeah, right. That's what I heard.
Wow, Astarata did that.
No, he wasn't able to drive tractor.
That I was wondering.
He didn't get a driver license till now.
Okay.
But somebody did it, and
I think it was you.
No? I was traveling. I'm innocent. And then the devotees, they went to the mayor, and well, very unfortunately, the whole barn collapsed. Can we renovate that too? Yes, okay, you can renovate it. So there's the temple, the renovated barn. It's still there, outside. If you look outside, there's the door. That's the original barn. This door is there, and around this door, the devotees renovated the barn.
Wow. How long did that take?
2 years about, isn't it?
Krishna Kshetra Maharaj, you have something to say about that?
Well,
it went in stages. Yes, there was this kind of sudden taking down the whole structure down to this level, because below this is stone, and then it was built up very quickly by Zimmerman. Well, carpenter, but yeah, they're especially for building barns and such, and they move really fast. And we said, well, now that we're building this up again, we want what is it, 4 windows on this side, and we want 3 windows there, and we want 4 or 5 windows on that side, and these were guys who are accustomed to building barns, and they're like, you want windows? Okay, whatever, whatever. They
Is this the
didn't care.
reason why the windows are a little on the smallish side? Could be, huh?
Yeah.
They thought they were building a barn?
Yeah, I don't know at what point they understood otherwise, but so this is the point. At one point, they were placing the horizontal beams across the whole building from that end, one after another. And as I said, they move fast. And I had this idea, because by this time we had a design for the temple. That's kind of another story, but we understood we want deity to be here and deity to be here. And I thought, well, it would make a lot of sense if we could have this area, 50 centimeters higher.
Okay. After they put the beams in, you wanted it higher.
Well, they're putting the beams one after another, and I'm seeing them through the window over there. And I ran to Kriparama, Prabhu, and I said, Prabhu, I had explained to him, we need to have this area 50 centimeters higher. And, I was like, they're moving fast. They're going to put a beam across here and forget it. It's going to be too late.
So were you successful?
So I said, Kriparama, come on. You have to go tell them to make this adjustment. And he kind of said, yeah, okay. He was kind of indifferent about it. But it was like, yeah, okay, we can do like that. So he went and told the Zimmerman, and they were like, why? What's this for? And but okay, whatever. They didn't care. They're getting paid by the hour or whatever. When it came to building all of this structure, the platform here, the wall, I had to be here all the time that they were constructing, because they couldn't understand the plans. I showed them the plans. You see here, it's like this and this and this, and they would just kind of, yeah, right, okay. And at one point, they started to build, they were actually going to build a wall right across. No door here, just a wall. Yeah, you want a room back there? Okay, we make a wall here. I said, no, this has to be an open What? Why? And then the whole, it's a little complicated. We had to, underneath Narasimhadeva is a solid support, cement, that goes down, doesn't go all the way down, does it? Anyway, it goes down below to support, because the deity with his with the base is 1 ton. He's 1,000 kilos, and so we knew there's going to be trouble unless we support him properly. And also, we had to create this this whole drain system. The Abhishek that you've seen. The Charnamrita is not just, oozing out the front opening. It's being drained out.
So there was a form of Vishnu here, and right where his feet.
Yeah.
Or there's a switch in the
Give
back
him the
to make
microphone.
Yeah, there's a switch.
Yeah. So, I mean, when I came, I thought it was very ingenious, you know. In India, they have the pitam of the deity in such a way, especially in South India they do this, because in North India usually they don't do abhishekam on the big deities except maybe one time for installation. But in South India they do it all the time, maybe once a week. I think they do here once a week. Are they doing yeah? So once a week we're doing everything traditionally here. So in South India, once a week, in Tirupati Balaji, it's Friday. The day before, they'll dress with flowers, and it's easy to take it off and then do Abhishek. So the base looks like something like the base of a Shiva Lingam. It has a spout at the side, which is like a Som Sutra or something. The water flows out to the south, to the east. Here to the east, it goes out. Yeah, okay. So and underneath that there's a drain. So I thought it was very ingenious. They actually have a switch, so if you want, it can drain to the back, in the pujari area, and it can be collected in buckets, or it can come right into the temple room. Wow. And when I came here, there was a railing here.
Yeah.
Well, it's not.
You can put it's normally there. Yeah, they've taken it down. Ah, okay, it's normally there. And there was also a carving from India of.
That's not really there.
That's also there.
It's falling off.
Oh, it's on with Velcro, so.
Yeah, Velcro
Yeah.
doesn't really work.
Velcro doesn't work. Yeah. So if they switch it in a certain way, it can come into the temple room also, the Charanamrita. And that's quite standard in all temples, not just Vishnu temples.
Okay, next question. I haven't asked Vaidyanath Prabhu yet because he just told me already. He told me before this afternoon that he also was a guest. You were a guest. You arrived for the festival specifically.
Yes, I hadn't been in Germany all these years, so I wasn't involved in the preparation of getting this place and the preparations for the festival, because I was in Scandinavia all the time. I was in Sweden for 4 years, in Denmark for 3 years, so I wasn't in Germany, and I had no idea how this was going on. But the last year before the installation, I was in Southern Europe. And I was contacted by one of my friends from Denmark, Alanath Swami, and he invited me to South America, Colombia, South America. So then for half a year I went out to collect some funds because I was a brahmachari, had no money at all, so I went working for half a year for my trip to South America. And while doing that, I had one intense. I remember I was sitting at home in my place, and I chanted the Narasimha mantra, and I felt that Narasimhadeva was giving me very strong energy for my future plans, because at that time I didn't really know how I would continue with my devotional life. So when working outside, I heard that this installation was going to happen, and I thought, well, this is going to be the last time that I see the European devotees. I'm going to go to the festival, because the Lordnessingative is going to be installed. And I was here during the entire installation ceremony. I watched from the outside how Gokeshava Prabhu was there. He was heading up the ceremonies. Krishna Kshetra Maharaj was at one yajna stall. Astarata Prabhu was at the other one, and some other devotees also. Who was it? Ashok Kumar? Hridaya Govinda?
Yes, Hridaya.
Dwarkesh. So they were there, and it was this very impressive ceremony, as you can see on the movie. So I went to here for the festival. I saw all the devotees. I said goodbye. Okay, I'm going to go to the New World, South America. Next day, I went to Frankfurt, took my flight to London, from there to Miami, and from there to Bogota, Colombia, and off I was. Then I stayed in Colombia for 9 months, and then USA for 5 years. where also I had some very intense experiences with Lord Narasimhadeva, because later he was installed in New Vrindavan also.
Okay.
And I was there for the installation of Lord Narasimhadeva there.
You did that one?
Yeah, Keshava was there in New Vrindavan, and I was assistant Pujari, yes.
And you were also secretary for Sukhavaka.
Yes, at the Gurukul school, yes, yeah.
Yeah, and then they asked me to go there because there was Vrindavan moved. They had an old temple in Bahulaban, right? Bahulaban, and then they moved to the new temple. And when they moved to the new temple, actually they were supposed to reinstall Radha Vrindavan Chandra because they had been broken by some dacoits, some bad people before. But at the last moment, the GBC decided that the new deities would be installed, but they would continue to worship the deities, the original deities, which is also a possibility. And so we took all these deities from Bahulaban and installed them in the new big temple, and also installed Srinathji, and as well, so they had Gaunitai, Radha Vrindavan Chandra, Srinathji, and then later Narasimha with Prahlad, and also even we installed Sita Ram, Hanuman, Lakshman as well, correct? And you were there for all of that, correct?
Okay, so it's the time before the installation. Now, Madanalasa, you were not here yet. Narahari, you were here. Can you tell us how it was for you? Now, how your personal relationship with that future of serving Lord Narasimhadeva.
Yeah, I came in 79.
Held it very close to your mouth.
I came in 79 and then in Schloss Rettershof. And then we moved here with Shri Radha Madan Mohan. And Narasimhadev came. It was afternoon, very nice sunny day. And all the devotees, they made some kind of how you say, wheel chariot that they put the.
Why do we need that? Is it better? Okay, but that she needs it really close. She can hold it. Okay.
Yeah. And so they made some wooden, how you say, like a wheelchair something, and the Lord was cart. Yes, yes. And then the devotees put the Lord Narasimhadev on the cart, and then there were like 20, 25 devotees or 30, I don't know. And they were pushing the Lord, and there was a Hari Bol because the Lord is very heavy, no? And then
was Gaur Keshava Prabhu already here when that happened?
No,
this happened before.
When the Lord came.
Okay.
Yeah, in the big truck. There was a big truck,
Uh-huh.
and they put him down. He was in the box, and they opened the box, and I heard that, I don't know, that when he came to Hamburg, the inspector wanted to check what is in the box. So then they say, open the box, and then they say, okay, close it. He was so afraid, he didn't want to see more. And then, and then Sarata Prabhu told me to make sweets, because we have to offer to the Lord. And then the Aarti was done. And then it was shower. It was sunny, and then there was also rain. And yes.
Wow.
Yeah. And there was a huge kirtan, and Krishna Kshetra Swami Maharaj was also there. He did the Aarti, and Astarata Prabhu also offered the sweets. And then they put him in that room, and then...
in this building?
Not in this building. When you go outside, there
in
are
another
these 4
building.
flats.
Okay.
In one of it was actually there was a just hall, big hall, and they used to store candles. They used to devotees used to sell the candles, and there was I think there were 3 big rooms, and the smallest room they put the Lord there, and then.
So how was Lord Narasimhadeva then moved from that room to the altar? Was that part of the installation festival?
Yes.
It was?
Yes.
No, so when I came here, he was already there. He was standing on some bricks.
We have to... sorry about, where's Bashar? So we have to hand this around. Give it to Gorky.
So when I arrived, I saw that the deity was almost installed, almost. The word pratista, or installation, actually means to make to stand. Tista means to stand. So pratista means to make somebody stand, or make the deity to stand on the altar. So when we put the deity on the altar and actually cement him to the altar, as a permanent deity gets cemented to the altar, right, that is the last part of the installation. And so I saw that they had the pitam, or the altar was already in there, and on top of the altar they put 2 bricks on one side, 2 bricks on the other side, 2 bricks in the back, and in the front they had left it open so that the Brahmashila we could do the Pita Ratnanyasa and put the Brahmashila inside, and then during the ceremony we had to rock him back and forth. Many devotees had to come and very heavy deity, so rock him back and forth, rock him to one side and take out 1 brick, and then take out another brick, and then take out another brick, and finally he was able to sit on top of the Pita Ratnanyasa and the Yantra.
So on the first day, I was not here, so the film that I was asked to make started actually on the second day. What did you do on the first day? Who remembers that? There was something with a wire. I remember that there was a wire connected from the deity to a copper wire.
Yeah, copper wires can be used, and also braided kusha grass can be used. We had on the 31st, when we did the reinstallation of Mahalakshmi, we used braided kusha grass. But copper wire can also be used. Yeah, there is on the bricks, exactly.
Oh, there, okay.
Exactly, you can see. And at this time he has these pavitra malas, silk malas on him, silk garlands. And usually we have a festival once a year called Pavitrotsavam. Utsava means a festival. Pavitra means pure. So we take these garlands, we offer them to the deity. Any unknown offenses that we commit during the year are taken away by this offering that we make once a year.
Here's a personal question I have. I love these pavitras, but after a while, when we wear them a lot, can one wash them?
Yeah, I mean, why
Is
not?
that okay?
Why not?
Okay, the power is not gone when I...
No.
Okay, all right, so thank
Yeah,
you. Thank you. I really, every time I
No.
wash my pavitras,
See, I never saw an advertisement where it said, we wash the power out. You can wash dirt out, you cannot wash the power out.
Okay.
The Shakti cannot be washed out.
So on the first day, I heard that demons were cast out. Is
Okay,
that...
so the first thing, and if somebody, I have the original schedule that we went by. It's in German, of course, but I kept it all these years, and I sent it to somebody. I don't know what has happened. If somebody can show it to me, it'll be more easy for me to remember. But as far as I know, the first thing that you do is that we had a procession up to the hill.
Oh.
That is
Okay.
called. That is a procession, and we must have taken some deity with us, I think. Yeah, in a procession up to the hill with kirtan, and on the hill we sat down and we do worship of the earth with Lord Varaha. His consort is the earth. So Bhuvaraha, we worship the earth, and then we also worship a shovel in the form of Ananta Shesha, and then we dig some earth, and we collect some earth in a tray. We place it on top of a Brahman's head, and we break coconuts during the procession, and we come back. And we take that
You
earth.
bring the earth here.
We bring some of the earth, some little earth in
Okay.
here, and we're going to deposit that into these clay dishes inside the Yagashala, which was just outside the door to the right. And then we take nine grains, Navadanyas, which represent the different planetary aspects, and we soak them overnight, and we sow them on top of the earth, and throughout the ceremony, day and night, we have to water them, and then they will grow, and if they wilt, then it's not good. If they grow very nicely and leaves come out, that's very nice. So this is always done as Kolankurapanam. It's always done for a ceremony which is more than one day long.
And this was done here?
And this was done here. So
And
this is the first
Did
thing.
they grow?
They did grow. They grew very nicely, and even leaves came. And
Wow,
even
nice.
within 3 days, to get leaves out of sprouts is almost unheard of. So very, very good energy, and the sprouts grow very well. But I think this
so
area.
on the first day you already had a sacrifice. I'm sorry. Turbo
Yeah.
sprouts.
No. You come in. You have to open the Yagashala at that time.
Okay, but you had it open on the first day already, on the 23rd of September.
Yes, the Yagashala was open, but we didn't actually open the Yagashala. We didn't actually open the Yagashala until after we did the Vastu Puja. The very first Homa, the very first fire that was performed right here in front of the
first day.
Garbhagriha. Yeah, and that is the Vastu Homa.
Okay.
That is the Vastu Homa, because the temple is like a body. The temple is like a body. So any body, if you have a body, it will attract a living being. It will attract a living being.
A suitable body attracts a living entity.
If there's just like if you build a house and you just leave it, somebody will come in, a squatter will come in, and he'll sit there. Right. You have to lock it up if you want people not to come inside. So this temple was reconstructed, or the barn was reconstructed into a temple, and then it's the body of the Lord. We consider it to be the body of the Lord. We consider the deity to be like the super soul of this body. And so we want to bring the Lord into the temple, but we don't want to inconvenience the Lord that he has to kick out somebody who's already here.
Right.
To evict the Vastu.
So that's what you do. You
So
evict
but
evict.
we have to do it in a nice way. There's some rules. So we have to do it in a nice way. Vastu is such a person that if you let him, he's going to take all the punya. He will take all the good things. In Hari Bhakti Vilas, it quotes from Matsya Purana. And the story of Vastu is that Lord Shiva was fighting with a demon. You can look at in Matsya Purana. And some sweat came from his brow when he was fighting. And the sweat fell down and became his son, one of his sons, called Vastu. So the first thing he said, he said, Father, I'm hungry. I'm hungry. So Shiva said, okay, so what do you want to eat? And he said, I am so hungry, I want to eat the whole universe. So then Shiva thought, if he eats the whole universe, that means me and all the devas and everything. And we can't allow this fellow to eat everything. He's too hungry. So we can satisfy him with something, but we can't give him everything. So Shiva went to, there are 45 other devatas that he went to, and he said, we have to make a plan together. We jump on his back and squash him. So he can't eat everything, right? Right. He has to go on a restricted diet. Okay? So you see this picture of Vastu in the Vastu Yantra that he's squashed on the ground, right? So that's because these 45 devatas are sitting on him. So as long as we worship these 45 devatas, they will keep on his back. But still we have to give him something. So we have to do what is called Vastu Homa, Vastu Puja, Vastu Homa, and Vastu Harana. Now in some shastras they have these Vastu Mandalas, which are either 9 by 9, 81 squares, or 8 by 8, 64 squares for houses and temples. But in the Pancharatra, there's a type of Vastu Mandala. Yeah, in the Pancharatra it's not exactly like this. So I asked them, I said, what you have to do is please make me a straw man, like a scarecrow. Right? You see in the fields, they make a figure made of straw. And this is what they usually do. In India, if you go around the sites where they're making buildings, they usually hang some straw dummy there in front of the building while it's under construction. At the end of construction, they do Vastu Puja, they do Vastu Homa, Vastu Yagya, and then they light that one up and they drag him around and throw him outside.
And this is what you did here.
That's what we did here.
You lit that figure here in the temple room and then dragged him out?
Yes. So first of all, we had the Vastu here, the figure which we invoke Vastu into, and different devatas, and we worship them like that. After we do that, then we do the Homa, and one of the interesting things is the first Homa that I did was very interesting because everybody came to see it, and I simply chanted mantras and the fire came. And everybody was amazed at that. But I told everybody that afterwards that there's some trick to this, right? So Sampal Kumar Bhattacharya, I cleared it with him before I did it, and he said there's several different ways to make fire. You can make it by churning wood, by friction. You can make it with a magnifying glass. You can take it from a Agnihotri Brahman's place. There's so many ways. And he said, but sometimes we just light with the matches. We light a lamp in front of the deity, or we offer a lamp to the deity, and then we just throw it in there like that. And I said, look, basic chemistry I know. If you combine these things, these harmless things, fire will come. He said, show me. So I took some cotton, and I took some potassium permanganate, and I took some glycerin. I put it on there, squeezed it, and I put it on there, and go on chanting some mantras, and it comes.
That was on the first day.
That was on the first day.
On the first day, this worked.
On the first day it worked. On the second day it also worked.
On the second day, I was here with a film camera.
Yeah.
By the way, I saw the festival only in black and white.
Took more mantras on the.
I only saw it black and white. So I was supposed to film this. There was many priests, Krishna Kshetra Maharaj, Astarata, Hriday Chaitanya, so many priests, everybody in place. Only the fire is now missing, right? No more. Everybody's ready. The ceremony out there is supposed to start. Now the fire has to come. And I filmed, and I saw that Gaur Keshava Prabhu, he was trying to make fire. And I zoomed in with the camera into this. You can see it in the film there. And I was an amateur chemist myself.
Yeah.
So I saw what you were doing, but I didn't. Okay.
But I
didn't. And it didn't work. So then.
But it did
eventually work.
Eventually worked.
I was rebuked.
It eventually worked.
The reason was given by the presiding acharya at that time, by Harikesh Swami. He ruled. He determined that this is not working because you are filming it. Switch off that camera for 5 minutes. So that's why you cannot see the actual fire starting.
But if you understand, inside the temple when I did it in here was warmer. Outside there it was cooler.
It didn't work.
No, it did work.
It did work eventually.
Yeah, eventually.
Eventually,
if you look, you see.
That's what it is.
I saw some smoke was coming.
You see, I had to switch off the
After
camera.
you turned off the camera, it worked.
It was black. For me, it was black.
Yeah.
Okay, so it did work.
It did work.
Okay, I'm happy to hear that.
It just took a little longer. That's all. I thought, why is it not working?
Because he was turning that spoon like
this.
It just did not work.
I was trying to, because if you add some pressure, that also makes it.
So then the fire.
So back to the Vastu Homa.
Back to the first day.
So we then, after the Vastu Homa, then we take some fire from the Vastu Homa, and we put it on. We put some camphor on the straw man, Vastu, and we then light him up. And then we take him around. At the same time, on either side of the altar, we had these big pumpkins. So I asked, in India, what they use is they have a thing called an ash gourd. An ash gourd. It's a pumpkin
gourd,
that they have.
It's a big pumpkin.
They cut it open in the top, and they take the top off, and then they mix up a lot of kumkum, and they put it inside with liquid, so that it looks like blood inside.
Oh.
And then they put it back together.
That's this here.
Yeah. On the front, they paint. I had got some posters from India, and I gave them here. And I said, "You please paint these figures on the front, like that." Then we put flaming. You can see a flame on the top a little bit. We put a camphor on the top and lit it. And I said, "Okay, when the Vastu goes around and he goes out, then these also should come out. If any friends of his, they also have to go out. You take them out and smash them like that." So we took them out, and it was a big kirtan, and we smashed them all there. So that is the Vastu.
That was day one.
That is Vastu Puja, Vastu Homa, Vastu Harana. And then the next day we had to do that, open the Yagashala.
I think it started at the roof with the chakra on the second day, which was a very dangerous enterprise.
Yeah, well, you have to get everything together. So Lord Narasimha is sitting on top of the bricks. So he's ready. He's ready to be installed.
Right.
But the chakra was not up there.
Yes.
So they made a
little platform.
Little platform was a little rickety, like that. And we went up there. And first thing you have to do is you have to get the kusha grass, and you have to just making a cross like this and tie it on there.
It was a beautiful ceremony
shows
up there. It's incredible.
But when you put it there, you install the yantra and everything, and you put the kalasha there with the spire, and the cross kushagrass shows that this is a work in progress. It is not finished, and then you have to connect this is later on. After you do the homas and everything, then you have some water from the Mahakumbha, Narasimha's Mahakumbha, has to go on top first before it's sprinkled underneath. Because after you install the deity underneath, you can't walk on top of his head.
Right.
But just like we have the yantra underneath him is Narasimha.
So nothing
On
can be
top is
above.
also Narasimha.
Nothing can be above the deity.
Nothing can be above the deity.
What is above the deity here? There's a
There's
cupola
something to stop people
from. Okay.
Yeah, you can go up and see yourself.
There's a
in
cupola.
that room. Yeah.
Okay.
There's
Now,
one-
what Gaur Keshava
there's
Prabhu
one-
did not tell us.
But there's one little detail I want to
Give us.
mention from the Sudarshan installation, you may remember, which just really struck me. Gaur Keshava was offering, I don't know, Gandha Pushpa Dupa Deepa.
Yeah.
And it was time for Deepa, and there was no Deepa. And there was no Deepa, and we're on the roof. And the people are down there, and they're going, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. No, forget it. So he just grabbed,
You can't run down and get a lamp. You know?
so he grabbed a banana, and he put the camphor on the banana, and offered like that.
Yeah.
And I thought, that's so
Very creative.
clever. Yeah.
But what he did
Fast thinking. You have
fast
to be a
thinking.
fast
But what he
thinker.
did not tell us was that there was water and there was ghee. And when you mix water and ghee and you spread it on a roof and you have devotees walking around there with cameras and all kinds of other equipment, other devotees, it becomes very, very slippery. That nobody was killed is Lordnessingative very special mercy, is almost magic. I saw Ashoka Kumar, the one who took these photos. He was the official photographer. I saw him sliding so badly. I was sliding down this side with my film camera on the shoulder. But somehow or other we managed to hold on to something, because there were patches which were like ice skating. You were like ice skating on this roof. It was what? It was slippery. It was very slippery. That's for sure. It was wonderful, because these little things also kind of added to the entire experience. Nobody had any idea what's going to come next, right? Gaur Keshava Prabhu, he was on fire. You know, he was doing these things, and he told me when I started the filming, he said, okay, Bhakta Mike, whatever you do, just follow me. Wherever I go, just come behind me and everything will be fine. You just keep the camera rolling. And I tried to do that. But he was incredibly dynamic. He was doing these pujas, and then all of a sudden, let's go! And he jumped up and he started running down here the roof at high speed, and we all tried to scramble and somehow or other follow you. It was very, very ecstatic.
See, the problem is, even though I had very qualified persons helping me, right? They were, they didn't exactly know what next to do. See, normally
Nobody knew except
you'll
for
have
you.
a few different priests, and you can say, oh, you go and do this, you go and do this. You can, but I had to go every step of the way. I had to be there to supervise. So.
Right.
Yeah, so I had to. It was, if I didn't do it fast,
it was big fun. It was so much
It
fun.
would have taken a long time.
It was amazing. It was just
Yeah.
totally, absolutely ecstatic.
Right.
Every
So-
step was
right.
ecstatic.
So then the next day there was a Yagshala Pravesh. We opened up the Yagshala in an authoritative way, and that's when we had to the first fire is started in the square kunda, right, as you saw, and then the fire is taken from the square to the bow shape to the round to the chakra kunda, and like that, and then all the pots on the outside wall. I asked Hari K. Swami, can we? It looked like it might rain, so we decided not to. Sometimes you see in Yagashalas they'll put cow dung and after you put the brick form, you put cow dung and mud and you just let it dry and everything like that. But because it might rain, we decided not to do that. But as long as we have the form, it's fine. So we put some decoration there. I asked Harike Swami, what kind of flowers do you have here at this time of year? And he said, cauliflowers. That's what he said to me. And I was like, okay. I got. But they did actually get some flowers. They took some leaves and from the forest and put them around there. I asked if the ladies can do some decoration.
It was very beautiful. Very, very
You
beautiful.
saw the decoration?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So in South India, they do a thing called Rangoli or Kolam, where the ladies, even in Bengal, they do it, and they do it with rice flour paste.
Yes, colored rice.
Yeah,
rice
so
flour.
they make auspicious symbols on the ground. So I said, is there any ladies who can do that? The lady said, well, we don't really know how to do that. I said, okay, so just make some circles with colored powder, and that's what you see. And Harike says, he said, you can make whatever symbols you like, but there's one symbol in Germany you should not make. Please don't make that symbol, okay?
Very smart.
I said, I have no intention of making that symbol. It's not necessary. We don't have to do that.
Okay.
So then I brought, you can see on the wall, I brought some posters of Lakshmi Narasimha and Tilak with Shankha Chakra, the conch and the disc, and also Garuda and Hanuman, and I think there's one of Ganesh or something, maybe like that. But we didn't worship Ganesh. We worshiped Vishpaksena instead of Ganesh, Vaishnava, secretary of Lord Vishnu, to clear away obstacles. Mm-hmm. So the Yagshala Pravesha, we went inside. The first thing that we did was Harike Swami was staying in that building over there, upstairs. And so I said, you come down at a certain time and we'll greet you with Purna Kumbha. Purna Kumbha means we have a pot full of water with a coconut and leaves, which represents a deity, temporary deity, and we invoke someone in there, Sudarshana or something, and then we chant Sannyasa Suktam, right? Nakamana na prajaya danena. When a sannyasi comes or when a grihastha comes, some Purusha Suktam verses we chant. And the person who comes will touch the pot. This is a very common thing in South India. The Brahmins in Madras did this, and Tirupati, when Srila Prabhupada came to those places, they always greeted him with the Purna Kumbha. It's a very common thing in South India. And then what happens is they'll take the coconut, they'll take the mango leaves from the coconut, and they'll sprinkle that water that has been touched and purified by the personality who's come, and they'll sprinkle it on all the people, and then he'll go. So he came and he sat on his asana there and then watched us open the Yagashala. So in the Yagashala, we have to worship four things. It's called Chaturstana Puja. Mm-hmm. So there are four places to worship. We worship in the fire. We worship the mandala, which you see on the top right there. There's a pot in the middle of what is called Chakrabja Mandala. That is because the installation is done according to a book called Padma Samhita, which is one of the commentaries on the three gems of the Pancharatra. And all new temples, Pancharatric temples, are installed in that way. And so that was made, now I think it was about a meter square, or maybe a little bit more. And there were 256 squares which have to be filled in with different colored powders like that. It took me about 8 hours to do that.
Wow.
And ever since, I have always just had a painted one and just thrown it down. But I wanted to do it I didn't have a painted one, so I had to do it in a very authentic way in the first time. You'll see many people who do this nowadays in ISKCON. They have a painted one. I also have a painted one now. I have a cloth and I just put it.
So when did you do that? At nighttime?
I had to do it in the evening, yeah.
Wow.
So it took a long time. I never had taken so long.
And kirtan was going on all the time.
All the time.
Super nice kirtan.
So that is one place. You have to worship in the fire, you have to worship in the mandala, you have to worship in the kumbha, in the pots in the middle. In the middle of the four fires, there's a raised Vedi called a Mahavedi, right? And on top of that, the main pot of where we invoke Prahlad Narasimha, and then around it we have four pots for the Chaturvyuha, Vasudeva, Sankarshana, Pradyumna, Aniruddha, and some other pots for Keshava, Narayana, Madhava, like this. So these are called Upakumbhas, or smaller kumbhas. So we have Mahakumbha, Upakumbha. So we worship the Lord in the kumbha, in the mandala, in the fire, and then in the bimba, which is the Lord's deity himself. Ultimately, at the end of the installation, they are all merged into the deity. The worships of all these places are merged into the deity.
How did you get the waters from all these rivers and
the waters from all the rivers. Well, I didn't get them.
Who got them?
Well, Harikesh Swami asked some people to bring waters from Caspian Sea and so many places. Auspicious places, I guess.
So then, how did day 2 conclude? That was it for day 2.
Okay, I could tell you a lot better if I had the program.
Oh yeah.
But normally, what happens is every day you have to do certain pujas to the mandala, to the pots, to the fires. That is called Nitya Homa, and Yagshala, Nitya Yagshala. You have to do twice a day, usually. So that means you start off with Vishvaksena Puja. You worship Vishvaksena to clear away obstacles. Then the next thing is you do Punyahavachanam. You have a pot which you make holy water to sprinkle on the Yagshala, and that is invoking Sudarshana in the pot. And then you sprinkle water on everything, and then there are different pots around the edges, and there are different gates to go in, and different flags, and each flag has a puja, each gate has a puja. The 4 Vedas are there. There are the 12 Mahajans in the corners, and each one has a pot and a place and has to have a puja done. So after doing all of that twice a day, you lose your voice.
So there were many more persons than you see on the photos.
Yeah, definitely.
Right.
Definitely. So that goes on twice a day. Right. Then there are some special yagas, some special homas which happen on the second day. Right. The first homa that they do is they do a Mana Pramana Shanti Homa, which we also did on the 31st here for Mahalakshmi, like that. There are 2 things which we do to make sure that the deity, the new deity form, is perfect. Because when a person makes a deity form, either out of metal or out of clay or even stone, there may be some imperfection caused by human error of the sculptor. So there are 2 things that we do. We get Panchagavya, which are the 5 products of the cow, and we sprinkle on the deity. So there's an initial washing of the deity. The first thing that I did before we started the whole procedure was I covered the Lord's eyes with beeswax, and there was some cotton underneath and beeswax on top like that. And then we sprinkled the deity. There's definitely pictures of us doing abhishekam. It's not really abhishekam. Abhishekam means a bath. You can only bathe a person once he's living. So it's a washing. It's a washing of the deity. When you see Krishna Chaitra Maharaj in that picture, you can see the Lord's eyes are open.
Yeah, no,
so
they're not open.
This is what I'm talking about.
They're still closed.
Yeah, here it's closed. So this is what we call Shilpa Dosha Snanam. So with Panchagavya, the 5 elements of the cow.
Arti.
Yeah.
In 5 minutes.
Yeah, then we have to do that. We have to wash the deity and purify it by touching it to that. After we do that, this is supposed to take away any of the mistakes that happen with the sculpture. We do the same thing with the fire. It's called Mano Mana Pramana Shanti Homa. Okay, so after this is done, the next thing which has to be done overnight, we do the Jaladivasam. But Jaladivasam means you take the deity, the new deity, put it underwater. Narasimha is too big to put underwater. So there's an alternate thing. Instead of Jaladivasam, you do what is called Chaya Adivasam. You put a tub of water in front and you put a mirror inside the tub and you connect the deity to the mirror, and the deity's reflection is in the mirror in the water. That is called Chaya Adivasam. So that is done over the first night. And then after that, you cover the deity with grains. That is called Danyadivasam. We did all those things. Yeah. We did all those things.
Very elaborate.
Then
I was just told by the temple president that through the arti, we still continue.
Okay.
So there will be no singing. We will continue for, I don't know how long. He has to tell us. Where is he? There you are. How long?
There's 2 types of kirtan. There's singing kirtan, also kirtan glorifying the Lord, explaining the lead of the Lord. So I think we can continue to break it up.
Yes, I think you're right. What I would also like to hear a little bit is realizations, miracles, support devotees have received from Lord Narasimhadeva since, so that we don't only talk about the installation, but also, so we should do both. So
there's one interesting story about Harikesh Swami. He after the Vastu Puja on the first night, he called me up to his room.
After the first night?
Yeah, because everybody was so impressed by the Vastu Puja and Vastu Harana, and everybody was so fired up. He said, you know what we should do is we're going to stop right now. We're going to stop right now. And you have to come with me. We go to Sweden, and you have to do all the ghosts in the Swedish temple. You have to get rid of all the ghosts in the Swedish temple. And I said to him, Maharaj, you know, when you chose us, because in the beginning of the ceremony, there's also a ceremony where we take permission from all the Vaishnavas the priests will take permission from all the Vaishnavas to actually invite the Lord, because we need their help. We need their authority. We need their permission. And the Yajamana, the person who's the sponsor, in that case, the GBC, he said, the GBC temple president, they are the sponsors for the community. They have to choose the priest. So this is called Acharya Ritik Varnam, right? Acharya, they have to choose a main priest, and they have to choose the helpers, the paricharikas, who are the assistants. So when you choose them, you have to do what is called Raksha Bandhanam, or Kankana. You have to wear, just like we have this thread from the Mahalakshmi installation. Actually, I could take it off now. But this is supposed to be worn. And this is supposed to protect us from some unknown impurity that may occur in our family or in our gotra, or whatever it is. So
I did not quite catch this. You said Harikesh Swami was about to stop the installation ceremony?
Yeah, wanted to stop it dead.
And
he said, we'll come back.
First, expel all the ghosts
in Sweden.
Scandinavia, in Sweden.
Yeah. Everybody got so fired up about the Vastu Puja. Okay. They thought, this is fantastic. We're having a big problem in Sweden. We want to go there and do that.
And then come back here and continue. So how did you convince him to?
No, I said to him, you can't do that.
Oh.
You can't do that. I said, look, if you want to go to Sweden later, we'll do that. No problem. Okay. But we took a promise. Right. We made a vow in front of the Lord. We made a vow, all of us, we made a vow that we are going to finish this ceremony to the end. Right? We cannot do we can't do anything selfish. We can't do anything, we can't go off and do something else. We have to finish this, like that. He said, yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right. Okay, no problem. Like that. He was just so enthusiastic about it.
I understand.
Yeah.
He saw the power.
Well, he thought this was an opportunity.
Oh, okay.
And to do something else.
He did.
What did she say?
Harikesh Swami, he was already fired up to in Schloss Rettershof, We had this sometimes. We have.
So ghost expelling.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, there's some ghost busting that goes on in ISKCON. But who you going to call?
Right.
Okay. Right.
We call you.
Yeah.
So what happened next?
For ghost busting, if you call somebody, please first ask them, according to what Shastra are you doing it.
Okay.
Like that. Don't just take any Ghostbuster, right? Okay. You may be cheated.
Okay.
All right. Okay, so what are we doing here? We're opening the Yagashala. And as I said, so the first Homa that we do is we do the Nitya Homa. Nitya Homa involves, there are four pits there. You can see I have the spoon. I'm pushing against
Lordnessingative ki jai. Hare Krishna.
So you can see that I'm taking the spoon and I'm pushing against the cotton and trying to get a little bit of smoke is coming, but it's not, no flame is coming yet. So I just had to keep chanting, and finally the reaction happened because it was a little cold. Okay, so then you can see inside the pit there's some different colors and everything. So I was doing the Kusandika, the setting up of the sacrificial fires according to the normal system of Gaudiya Vaishnavas. There's Satkriya Sardipika. So then this is a square kunda, a square Yagashala. So that we invoke Vasudeva. In the Pancharatric system, there's what we call Chaturvyuhas, Vasudeva, Sankarshana, Pradyumna, Aniruddha. These are 4 forms of the Lord, expansions of the Lord. So the square kunda represents Vasudeva, the half moon one, which is this is supposed to be in the east. Then in the south we have Sankarshana, in the west we have Pradyumna, and in the north we have Aniruddha. So
where are the priests? In which direction are the priests looking?
So the priests are all sitting. The main priests, the hotris, who offer ghee into the fire, they should sit facing east. The number one important direction is east, because the sun is called Pratyaksha Devata, the god that you can see with your eyes. So Surya Narayana is there within the sun, so we always face the sun. So the sun is in the east, we should set up everything towards the east. Now, if there's an assistant pujari, the assistant pujari sits in the south facing north. So the first direction you should sit, if you have a choice, is east. Second one is north. The other two directions, not so much. Okay. So going around the fire like that. So we had, I believe Astarada was there in, I think Krishna Chaitanya Maharaj, you were in the east. Yeah? I was starting the fire, but then you were going to take over. You're facing east, but you were at the eastern kunda, the square kunda, no? Yeah, and then Astarada was in the south, and what was it? Dwarkadish
was there. Yeah.
Was in the Dwarakesh was in the west, and Hriday Govinda.
Hriday Chaitanya.
What?
No, Hriday Govinda.
Hriday Govinda was in the north, like that. So each person had their place. Now, what I was doing is I would sit behind the person here with a microphone on my deer skin and my woolen asana that I brought from India. And I would chant the mantras, and I would just direct the different hotris. Now you put in this one, you put in this one. So we have to offer oblations, first of all, for Vasudeva, Sankarshana, Pradyumna, Aniruddha. And then we have to offer Nitya Homa, means we have to offer all of the mantras that we're going to use in puja for the deity. So the Mula mantras and the Gayatri mantras that are used for all the deities. And also, mantras like the mantra Raj, Ugram Vira Mahavishnu mantra, like that. So that is Nitya Homa, that's twice a day. So then after the Mana Pramana Shanti Homa, the next one is called Tattva Samhara Homa. So it's a special Homa in which we have that metal wire connected to the pots in the middle, to the Sudarshana Chakra on the roof, and also to the Lord Narasimha here, right? So that is supposed to, it's a process of mantras to destroy the material elements in the deity's body and then recreate them spiritually, right? So the first part is called Samhara. So you show the Samhara Mudra. This means Samhara, destruction. It's in the Sankhya system of creation, which is accepted by Vaishnavism, right? There are these 24 elements ending with the jiva, and they are created in a certain way from subtle to gross. So we start with the gross, which is the earth. Earth must merge the earth into the fire, earth into the water, water into the fire, fire into the air, air into the ether, like this, into the mind, into the intelligence, into the ego, into the pradhana, like that, and then back into the Lord, and then create them again. It's the same that we do every day before we do deity worship. It is called Buddha Shuddhi when we do it on our body. When we do it on the deity's body, it is called Jivadi. It's called Tattva Samhara and Tattva Shristi. Now these special homas, we have to keep a little bit of ghee at the end of each oblation. So we have a plate, copper plate. So we offer Swaha, and then when we say the Prativachanam, Idana Mama, we put a little drop in that plate. So for the Samhara, for the destruction, from the creation backwards, we take that ghee and then we put another plate there for the homa which we do for the creation. Then afterwards we go to the deity and we have to do nyasa. We have to touch that ghee with the same mantras that we did in the sacrifice on different parts of the bodies of the deity. For destruction, we start at the feet and we go to the head. Then for creation, we create from the head down to the feet again, like that. So these are the two special homas. After we do that, the next homa, we also collect ghee. This is called Jivadi Tattva Homa. Jivadi Tattva Homa is a very long homa, and for Vishnu Tattva, there's also an extension of 16 different parts of different nyasas. It's called Sodasa Nyasa, which is done. For Mahalakshmi and Jiva Tattvas and things like that, we don't do that one. But for Narasimha, we had to do very, very long homa. Very, very long homa. So this is a special homa, Jivadi Tattva homa, Dasa Prana homa for the 10 life heirs, and then Prana Pratishta homa, and then these Sora Sannyasa, 16 other Nyasa homas. So when that's finished, then we do Prayaschitta homa. So with the names of the Lord, Keshava, Narayana, Madhava, Govinda, like this, we do Prayaschitta. For any mistakes that we might have done, we do a Purnahuti, and we put a final oblation in the fire, and then that's the fire finished. Then we have to take that ghee that we collected, and we have to do that on the deity. We have to draw that on the deity, touch the deity in certain places.
That was still day 2.
Well, that's day 2, and then day 3 is in the morning. We have to do the Netron Milanam. We have to open the eyes.
Open the eyes.
Yeah. So it is. First of all, we have to.
Harikesh Swami opened the eyes, as far as I remember.
Yeah, we have
with
to get
with a tiny little spatula
of something made of gold.
Yes,
either I think it was a ring or something. Yeah,
I think it was a golden spoon.
Yeah. So then, after you open the eyes of the deity, then you have to bring Astamangalas. You have to bring 8 auspicious things in front of the deity. So I said we'll bring a deity of Prabhupada. We'll bring Tulsi like that. I said, do we have some young ladies that we can bring? They're very auspicious. Sumangalis. So there's 2 types of ladies that are auspicious. Did you know that?
First came the very small girls.
Yeah.
And then came the Sumangalis.
Yeah, there's 2 types.
And you explained that Sumangali
is a woman with children.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
So if a woman has children, she's very auspicious. If she is also unmarried, she's also auspicious.
Right. Okay.
Like that.
Okay. But that's when it
So it's practically all the ladies. Yeah.
That's when it that's when it became really how should I say, special. I think you brought in a calf. Did we bring in a cow? I remember
in
that.
Vrindavan we did that.
I remember
maybe.
that. I remember the little girls. The little girls came in for sure. Tulsi came in.
Yeah.
And the ladies, the married ladies came in.
Yeah.
And then at one point you stood there and you said, "Come on," because everybody was on this side of the room.
Right.
Nobody saw
Nobody
the
saw
deity.
that. No.
We couldn't see the deity. Nobody saw the deity.
Right.
Only the ones who came in here, the little girls,
right.
the Sumangalis. I remember a calf. And Tulsi, they all had darshan, but nobody had seen the Lord.
Right.
With eyes. Now the Lord had eyes.
Immediately after that begins the Abhishekam. Right?
Immediately.
So when the Abhishekam begins, then I wanted everybody to come in front and big kirtan, and then we started the Abhishekam.
But we forgot to ask the little girls to...
We forgot to ask the little girls
we
to get
didn't
out
have an
quickly,
exit
out of the
plan
way.
for...
No exit plan.
There was no exit plan, so
No,
they were really... It became very dangerous.
Yeah, there was a lot of crushing.
There was a lot of pressure from
Yeah.
the Prabhus,
Yeah, yeah.
especially in this direction, and there were these little girls in the front, and nobody was hurt. It was that.
No.
That's another miracle on that day, and there were more miracles. At one point,
So before we did that, of course, we went to the roof and we had to pour some on the roof.
Yeah.
And we had to pour some down here.
yes,
Yeah.
that was also a miracle. And then when you started throwing coconuts into the crowd,
Into the crowd, yeah. So some people got hit with coconuts.
I heard about that. Were they badly hit? Not so bad.
This is not coconut lila here. This is
This is
Chanamrita
Chanamrita,
lila. Yeah. So the thing is, you saw the Abhishekam today. If you came and saw the Abhishekam today, it's quite mellow compared to the original one. The original one, nobody had seen an Abhishekam like this in ISKCON before.
Definitely not.
And
I mean, what you did, you crushed the coconuts on a stone and then very quickly poured
the water. Yes.
The water over the deity.
Yeah.
And then at one point you started throwing the half coconuts
Yeah.
into the high velocity.
People were
into the
fighting.
crowd,
People were
you
fighting
know.
over them. Yeah, they still fight over them when we go do the processions.
Right.
Tonight, I think people will be
Okay.
fighting also.
Oh, there will be coconuts flying?
They'll be fighting.
No, flying.
Coconut fight.
Coconut fight. Okay,
Yeah,
all
yeah,
right.
Yeah.
Prepare yourself.
Yeah. So here's what's happening is that some Prabhus were coming up and very forcefully just asking me, these nectars that are being poured on the Lord, can we get a little bit of that? You know, so I collected some in the Gindi, in a spouted water pot, and people just started putting their hands out very politely. So I just didn't give a little bit in the hand like that. But very soon, people were pushing and saying, no, we want more than that. So please fill our mouth with Charanamrita. So
from
possible.
which moment on is there reciprocation between the deity and the devotees?
Yeah, from the point of the prana pratishta, when we pray to the deity to be present and accept, to be present permanently, and permanently accept our service, and then open his eyes. As soon as he opens his eyes, we have to start offering service to him. It's like when you wake up in the morning, you wake up and you're going to the rest of your day. You know, you immediately start doing things as soon as you wake up. So as soon as the Lord wakes up, I mean, he's there, but he hasn't committed to accepting any offering from us. Like that. Maybe he'll accept something temporarily. As they said when they first came, they offer some sweets, they invoke him, they think that he's there. He's everywhere. So naturally you can offer to him like that. But he's not bound to accept that.
He wants to offer a flower to you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Yeah. So, but once we pray to him and we say, we permanently want to install you here and worship you here, then at that time, then it becomes our responsibility to start offering all the services in the proper way, and if we do it in an improper way, then we create offense. So that's when we have to be very careful after that.
So is it dangerous to be here and serve Lordnessingative?
No, it's not dangerous to serve the Lord.
What if you do something wrong?
And if you do something wrong, you continue serving.
Okay.
That's all.
That's good.
Just like chanting Hare Krishna.
Okay, good.
You commit an offense, you keep chanting.
I would like to ask Mata Nalasa, what did you do for Lordnessingative?
I cooked for him, and I like it very much to cook. Oh boy.
You were here for many years.
Some years, yeah, some years.
And Narahari, what did she do?
She cooked also. We are staying together in the kitchen. Yeah.
Any realizations?
Yeah, I like it very much, and it makes me quite happy. So in that time, it was my English is very bad.
It's really good.
So in that time, it was a rule that we also have to clean the kitchen. So sometimes we stay till 11 o'clock in the night to clean all the things. But it was very nice.
I asked Harikesh, in South India, they make garlands for the deity made of vada. Vada is like a savory donut made of urd dal in South India. So I said, is there anybody here who knows how to make this vada? So we can make a garland of vadas. And you can see there's many different garlands of fruit and that we do now. That all you see all around ISKCON now, they have put, dried fruit garlands, and they put some.
Started that?
Yeah, all of these things are started, the setari. All of these things are coming from this installation.
So how do the cooks
These
know
are
what
first.
Lord
So
Narasimhadeva
I asked him.
Okay,
I asked Harikesh, is there anybody who can do that? He said, we have an expert cook here. You go and see her. You ask her if she can do that. So I went to Manalasa. I said, can you make vada? She said, no, I don't know what it is. Right? Like that. I said, donut. You make a donut. She said, Berliner. Berliner. She said, I can make a Berliner. Like that. I said, what is a Berliner? She said, it's a jelly donut. We know in America they call jelly donut. Okay. Yeah. So this is perfect. It's like a donut with blood also. Oh, like that. Yeah. It looks like blood, right? So I asked, can you make a lot of these? We can make them into a garland. You remember? Yeah. And this was the beginning of a tradition.
Wonderful. Now, how do you determine what to cook for Lord Narasimhadeva? Is there something prescribed? Krishna Kshetra Maharaj.
When I did my research in South India, mainly Andhra Pradesh are the Nrsimha temples. The priests in the different temples, they would all tell me, Narasimhadeva likes sweets. That was a kind of everyone said that. Narasimhadeva likes
So the
sweets.
donuts, the jelly donuts were perfect.
Yeah, yeah.
And Panakam?
And Panakam they offer at, what is the temple? Mangalagiri.
What is that? Panadam?
Panakam is what are the contents of Panakam? It's gur, water, gur, black pepper, and ginger, and some maybe other spices. I don't remember now. Cardamom. Yeah. Yeah, so that became, I don't know if it's, do we still offer it?
Still offer every offering.
Just getting this paratha and Prahlad Maharaj hot milk.
Hot milk.
What does he get, Prahlad?
Hot milk.
Hot milk, okay.
So Panaka is very famous, is a famous, especially in Narasimha temples, that they offer Panaka to the Lord. In Mangalagiri, there's a self-manifest deity of Narasimha, and his face is there, and there's a hole in the rock behind where his mouth is. And it's described in Chaitanya Charitamrita Prabhupada. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu visited that temple when he went on his South Indian tour in 1512 AD. So what happens is they take an amount of Panakam. So if they have 1 liter of Panakam, they pour it into the mouth of the deity. And there's a gurgling sound. And he spits out 500 milliliters.
Wow.
He drinks half and leaves half for prasadam. It comes out. And they say that no ants will come there. Even though it's a sticky liquid, no ants will come. And people want to get that Panakam.
Or they can offer 10 liters.
Yeah, if they offer, if they offer 10, whatever they offer, half comes back.
Yes, and how much they offer depends on how much you offer, how many rupees. So when I was there, I think we offered 10 rupees. It wasn't much. And I felt kind of bad. The pujari, immediately he takes the pot and he goes down all the steps because there's no water up there. Goes down how many 100 steps to get water, and he carries that however many 100 steps it is back up. It's a lot of steps. And then he prepares the panakam, and then they offer. I haven't heard this about spitting it back out, but the half, yes. Half, gurgle, okay, and you get the rest. You get them all. So we decided, I understood, okay, Narasimhadeva likes panakam, he likes sweets. So
There are some other traditional foods which they have, but they have these in most of the South Indian temples. So here we have idlis, which are offered. Idli is a soft rice cake that comes with coconut chutney in the morning. So the Lord gets those for the last, how many years? 40 years? Yeah. And then if just like in Simhachalam, they offer what is called pulihodare, which is a type of tamarind rice with spicy, very spicy tamarind rice. So a lot of Narasimha's food is very spicy. Mm-hmm. And some can be very sweet, and some can be very hot, and like that. So here we're seeing a picture of the kirtan, yeah? So I think there was some different kirtan leaders.
It was incredibly loud.
Yeah.
It was so loud that the microphones of the video camera could not handle it. It's just one distorted blur, but one can still feel the ecstasy coming through even in that sound of the sound recording. It was amazing. The kirtans were absolutely roaring.
I remember hearing there was someone called Ujjvala, no?
Ujjvala Nilamani from
Yeah.
Switzerland.
Yeah.
There was someone called Suhotra Swami, and I'm just
Yes,
kidding.
of course. Yeah.
He was incredible. Sachinandan Swami. Who else was leading kirtans? Krishna, Krishna Karnamrita, remember him? He's there behind the very tall one, book distributor. Then we had so many devotees. I forgot the names. There's one on the left side. What's his name? The one on the left, middle. You know him, right? Yeah, I also forgot the name. It was just incredibly ecstatic. And so, has anyone had?
This is not the end.
No, it's not the end.
No. The Abhishekam is only what we call Snanasana.
Right.
After Snanasana, Alankarasana, then we had to decorate the deity.
Yes.
And then we had to offer the food. And then we have to do the first arti.
Yes. Yes. Tell us.
So I said to Harikesh Swami, so okay, now we're addressing the deity, now we're going to offer the bhoga after the Abhishekam. And I said, so you're the head of the community here. You are the one who had the vision and, you know, with everybody else, but leading the community to bring Lord Narasimha here. So you have to lead by example and you have to do the first arti. And he said, I'm a GBC, I haven't done an arti for millennia, 10 years. I don't know how to do it. And I said, don't worry anything. I will be right beside you and I will just hand you things and I will tell you what to do. So you do it, but you have to do it because you have to show everyone else how to worship the Lord. And then they will follow you and they'll know how to do it. Like that. So he said, okay, so there's a big kirtan going on outside. Everybody's waiting and they want us to open the curtains. So we know we're in there, we're under a lot of pressure to get the alankar done, get the dressing done, get the bhoga done, and to open the curtains for the first time.
And the doors were also closed, I think.
Yeah, I think, yeah, the doors were closed, yeah.
I remember that.
Yeah.
Because when I was inside, the sound of the kirtan was recordable. When I was out here, it was unrecordable. So there was a solid wood between.
So he said to me, okay, so how do we start? I said, okay, so first thing you have to do, right, is take off your shirt and wear just only a chadar. And then I said, first thing you have to do is before you go in, you have to do achmana. So I had this big achmana, cup like this, but there was no water in it. Somehow there was no water in it. So I said, okay, so yeah, this is what it looked like. So I said, okay, so I'll go outside and I'll get some water and I'll fill it up like that. So I went outside and instead of just putting tap water in, I thought all these devotees were asked to bring special waters from different rivers all around Europe, because any river in India, if a river goes into the sea directly, it's considered a Mahanadi, it's considered a holy river. So even in Europe, if it goes directly into the sea, it should be holy also. And the same thing, there's different sea water can also be used like that. So there was still a few of these bottles that were there. They had labels on them saying where they were from, like that. I didn't look at the label. I just took one bottle and I put it in the Panchapatra. So then I brought it back inside and with a big spoon, I said, put your hand out like this. I gave him a big spoon. I said, Om Keshavana Maha, sip it. Oh, he almost spat it out. I said, but you can't spit in the deity room. You cannot spit in the deity room. He goes, but it tastes so bad. He said it tastes so bad. I said, look, I don't care what it tastes like. You have to drink it like that. I didn't know what it was. So I made him drink these 3 big spoons of Caspian seawater. Yeah. So later on, when I went out, later on during the arti, I scratched my face or I touched my face and I thought I have to do Achimanosa. So what is this? So I went outside and looked at the label. Then I apologized to him after the arti. I said, I made you drink the seawater. But anyway, he said it's a small price, to pay. And so then we did the first arti and everybody was ecstatic and that was the end of the first arti. And then the worship has to go on. After that, regularly, again, we have to get up in the morning and do Mangal Arati and offer all the food. So really, it's very easy, in my opinion, it's very easy to do the installation compared to the continual puja worship that has gone on for 40 years without break. That's the difficult thing. So I just go there and for a few days, but then the real devotional service is done by all the people who come afterwards.
Very, very important to maintain the standards, regularity. Why is regularity so important?
Vaidhi sadhana bhakti, it's one of the basic principles, regulation, regularity. I mean, just on the Vaidhi level, you can say, it's about establishing a peaceful. I would say it's about establishing a peaceful situation for worshiping the Lord. You know what needs to be done when, and the Lord is expecting. This was a point that came, that this is kingly worship, Rajopachar, where the Lord expects His service at specific times. And we all knew it was imbibed in us by Srila Prabhupada that we should be punctual. He made two priorities in deity worship. One was punctuality and the other was cleanliness, purity. He emphasized revolutionary clean. He said you must be revolutionary clean and punctual. And I think it was the Krishna Balaram Mandir, before the deity greeting, he would stand there and he'd be looking at his watch. And it had to be, to the second practically the deity, the curtains should open. The joke, the sort of standing joke for pujaris is, as the curtain is being pulled back, the pujari behind the curtain is with the broom pulling back, the remaining impurities on the floor, just behind the curtain. Okay, just getting exactly on time.
I had a realization when I read. My daughter was very small, so I bought her a book called The Little Prince. Has anyone heard of that book, The Little Prince?
Yes.
And in The Little Prince, there is somewhere a rose. On one of these planets, there's a rose, and he has to water it every day at the same time. And then he was asked, why does it have to be done at the same time every day? And he says, through this regularity, love develops. Because a dependency, as you say, expectation, the Lord expects. So if you come one day at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, the next day at 4 o'clock in the morning, you can't expect. When you cannot expect, you do not develop that attachment, and the dependency does not, or the peacefulness, I think you mentioned that also, the peacefulness of, okay, very soon he or she will come. And that is nice, and that fosters love, a loving relationship. It's a little bit like a child and a parent. When the parent comes home once, every day for 3 weeks, and then he's not to be seen for 3 months, it's a problem. It's a problematic relationship. So when we do something very regularly for the Lord, every day at the same time, love develops. It's the regularity creates the environment for a loving relationship. That's what I learned from the Little Prince, which
Yes.
of course Srila Prabhupada has the philosophical background. I just got that realization when I thought about the rose that this character had to water every day at the same time.
On another level, it's understood the Lord has His pastimes every day, His daily pastimes, which are taking place at certain times. He's waking up. He is meeting his friend. He's being bathed, and then he's meeting his friends, and he's milking the cows, and he's going out to the forest. Of course, this is Krishna worship, especially, but it's Ashtakaliya Lila. This is not so much Vaidhi sadhana bhakti. This is more raga anuga sadhana.
But we also say in English, practice makes perfect.
Yeah,
Practice makes perfect. It
perfect.
does.
If you
It
never
does.
practice,
Yes.
you don't get perfect.
He just showed me the book. What should I?
So in quite
In 15 minutes, we will go over to the book. And I just wanted to give you a short schedule so you get some idea, and one short announcement. So we are preparing for the Vahana procession, and any strong man who want to carry the Lord, please make yourself available outside. We need 12 strong men.
Well, wow, do we have so many? 12 strong ladies?
Yeah.
Are there any volunteers?
So they can just make yourself available outside. That will be in half an hour, and in 15 minutes we will talk a little bit about the book,
Okay.
which basically contains everything we're discussing here. That will be the culmination of the session we're having here.
Wonderful.
So
we have 15 minutes.
Yes.
Because then we go to the book.
Okay.
Has anyone had Lord Narasimhadeva appear in a dream, or has anyone had Krishna Kshetra Maharaj?
It's not about dreams. It's not about dreams, but it's about something which happened some years later after the installation, and it was all my fault. It was kind of a disaster. I mean, it all ended okay, but I had seen at Ahovalam that one of the forms of Narasimhadeva is that he is chasing Hiranyakashipu. Right? That's one of the forms they have. And that got my speculation going. I thought, we can have a procession with Narasimhadeva chasing Hiranyakashipu. And what form shall we have Hiranyakashipu? In the form of a cake. You remember this? Yeah.
I heard it today. He mentioned the cake procession, and
so they made this huge, like, full-size cake of Hiranyakashipu. He was lying flat
on a
big board,
uh-huh.
and very thick cake, and so I kind of directed the whole thing. I said, "What's going to happen?" And I made it very strict. Nobody touches Hiranyakashipu until I give a signal. So it came out Hiranyakashipu on a palanquin, and then Chota Narasimhadev, and it was a procession around with kirtan, 3 times around, and then we stopped in front, and I said, okay, and I jumped out of the way. And devotees pounced on Hiranyakashipu. They just became something, I don't know what. Ferocious, yeah. They jumped. They just, just started like this. And so it was this mad pile up. And one devotee, do you remember who it was? Was it Param Shreya? He fell underneath. He fell underneath, and someone, I guess, he got the wind knocked out of him. And they called the ambulance.
Ambulance came twice, I think.
Was it twice?
Yeah.
I don't remember that. Yeah, so this,
Is he okay?
this, yeah, he was okay.
Next day he came back out of the hospital with a white turban, his head bandaged because he had fallen on his head, and he was shaking on the ground as if having an epileptic fit. But he was taken to the hospital, came out next day, and next day he got initiated with a bandage around his head. And that's the same devotee who was taken to the hospital today because he had swallowed the camphor from the altar. Yes.
Wow.
So then, suddenly the mood, everyone was like, and then the mood completely, just changed, and everyone was very serious, and, we kind of didn't know what to do. Okay, kirtan, all right. Things went back somewhat to normal gradually. Some weeks, maybe it was months later, I was in Mayapur, and I mentioned this incident to Atma Tattva Prabhu. And he said, well, of course, what do you expect? You make a cake of Hiranyakashipu, Hiranyakashipu is going to be present, and he's going to cause trouble.
You have to be very careful with Lordnessingative.
You have to be careful what kind of cake you make, too.
I can tell you something about Lordnessingative. In the year 2000, a major portion of the German Yantra was in a very difficult situation. There was a company that, a GBR, a simple company of 13 devotees, and they bought the books from the BBT and then gave them to the Sankirtan devotees. So they were an actual company in between the BBT and book distribution. And the tax authorities, the German tax authorities of the Trier, you know where Trier is? Somewhere not far from Abenteuer. They looked into all this and they said, something is really strange here. These people never make any profit. They're selling hundreds of thousands of books, but they don't make any profit. We're going to look into this. And they looked into it and they concluded that the German devotees had created a scam, right? They created a company offshore. The offshore company prints the books, and then they sell the books to themselves at a very high price. So in other words, the profit is shifted from Germany offshore, no tax, and they charge these devotees, this GBR, this company, devotee company, with, including, what do you call this, interest, 1 million Deutschmarks, which was an enormous amount of money at that time. And at one point the devotees, I didn't know about this case, and then they wrote to me and they called me and they said, hey, maybe you can help us with this. Maybe the BBT can help out and do something with the tax authorities. So I thought, yeah, okay, maybe we can do something about it. And we hired a very, very good lawyer, a very expensive lawyer, a lawyer that is specialized in that one paragraph of the German tax law. He looked into it and okay, it looked pretty hopeless. It looked really hopeless. The tax authorities already started taking money from some of these devotees. What do you call this? When they confiscate something, when they withhold, some kind of withholding, repossession or something. It was really critical. Some devotees were very, they were not even in the movement anymore, and they were very upset about all this. Okay, so I said, I had the devotee, the temple president from Berlin, the lady, I forgot her name now. Who remembers the name? Very nice lady from Berlin, the temple president. Huh? No. It doesn't come right now. And I mentioned, Hari Balaba, thank you. Hari Balaba. And I mentioned this to her and she said, you know what, you need to talk to this devotee here in Berlin. I know a devotee who knows about taxation. Here's his phone number. I called him up and he said, well, this is a tough case. Will be very difficult. But here's one thing that do you know the Narasimha Kavacha? I said, I have no idea, no. He said, I will send you to file, the word file, you chant this every day and something will happen. Okay, I'm gonna do that. The next day, I have two little houses. My mother left me 2 houses. When she died, she left me 2 houses, two small houses in Bavaria. And a tenant, one of the tenants called me and he said, I said, how are you? He said, I'm really good. I said, what do you mean? He said, well, I think he lost 80 kilos already. He was huge. I lost 80 kilos. I said, how did you do this? He said, cabbage soup. Cabbage soup, what was that? Okay, so he gave me, I was chubbier than now, so I thought, why not? I'm gonna try cabbage soup. So I started fasting with cabbage soup, which is fasting, really, it's a tapasya. So I started fasting, I chanted the Kavacha every day, and through this fasting and the Narasimhadeva Kavacha, every day, I did this for about 2 months, and I realized I can deal with this. Lord Narasimhadeva gave me the conviction that I can actually go to Germany and do this, try something. So I asked the devotees, how should I do this? Yeah, absolutely. And I said, I'm gonna go in Vaishnava outfit. Everybody said, no, under no circumstances. You have to go in normal clothes, in legal outfit. Okay. I continued chanting. It became clear I must do this in full Vaishnava outfit. Okay, so then came the day. The tax authorities invited us. I brought the lawyer. I flew the lawyer down to Trier from Berlin to Trier, from Hamburg to Trier, and we met. I brought a huge suitcase, metal suitcase with Srila Prabhupada's books, more documents, about 600-700 pages of documents, and these I don't know, 6 or 7 tax authority people. Hello, and they apologized. I thought, wow. They apologized. They said, they saw me, and I thought I was wearing exactly like this, and they said, oh, sorry that we come in blue jeans, and we didn't think it would be such a formal meeting. I thought, that starts well. That starts really nice. They gave me, I don't remember exactly, I think it was 1 hour and 20 minutes to just explain. They gave me a whiteboard, I drew all kinds, I told them everything, right? And I brought 2 of Srila Prabhupada's books that he printed in India. Right, the books that Prabhupada brought to America, 2 of those, these brick brown, really nice old books that Prabhupada printed in 1963, 1964. I put those in the middle of the center of this table. So where there were the tax authority people, there was Parivadi, there was the lawyer, there was myself, and that's it. And so 1 hour, 20 minutes. Then there was question and answers for a half an hour, and then the lady, the chief of the tax authorities, said, okay, we're gonna do this, and she gave some words, and I said to the lawyer, what does this mean? He said, it's over. And I thought, oh God, it's over. He said, no, it's over. So the lady asked her staff, she said, after seeing all the books, she said, I asked her, I said, if you want to make profit, do you print these books? And she said, nah. And then she asked her staff, she said, do you want to continue this case? And everybody said, no. Okay. The meeting was closed, handshake, beautiful. We left the room. The first thing the lawyer says to me, I walk here, the lawyer walks here, and he says, this is a miracle. He said, I expected a discount of 200,000 Deutschmarks, from 1 million to 800,000. And he thought this would be fantastic, right? I would save you. By my 5,000 Deutschmarks fee to come from Berlin to Trier, I save you 195,000, 200,000 minus 5,000. He said that was the best thing we could get. And he said, I've been doing this for 40 years. He said, this is a total miracle. He didn't know about Lord Narasimhadeva. He didn't know about any. It was 100% Lord Narasimhadeva who was invoked to help the German Yantra with that devastating case. And we walked away, and they did not. And on top of everything, at the end of this whole thing, I asked the tax lady, the tax authority chief, I said, so what are we going to do now with the books? And she said, you cannot ask me. I'm from the tax authorities. I'm not your tax advisor. You have to ask a tax advisor. I said, okay. She said, but you know what? We make a deal. I'll tell you anyways what you can do. And I said, okay, let's make a deal. She said, you do this, you do that, you do that, you do that, and we will leave you in peace. Can you imagine? The most fierce, Lord Narasimhadeva, yes, thank you. Ki Jai. Thank you. Thank you to Lord Narasimhadeva behind the beautiful door. You have not only once, many times saved the situation already in Germany with the BBT, with my daughter. She just told me on the way down from Stockholm, she said without her dependency and love for Lord Narasimhadeva, she would still suffer much, much more. She was bullied in school very much, at a school in Sweden, and She had tried to overcome, can I say that? No? Okay. Oh, it's many diseases, and she says, I have never been as good as I am now. I am not angry with myself anymore. I have forgiven the people, etc. So Lord Narasimhadev is so powerful. But here comes the one little thing. So we have a devotee, our chief programmer of the BBT, of the North European BBT. He lived in Sweden with his family. And the immigration office sent him a letter. He's from Russia. He's a Russian. He lived in Sweden for already, 3 years. They kicked him out. Okay? So one last meeting. We arranged for a last meeting with the immigration office. He went to Stockholm, and we gathered in the temple in front of the deities, and we chanted the Narasimha Kavacha with with a maximum concentration and conviction. And he came back, and we said, did it work out? He said, no. We had a little, not a crisis, but we thought, Lord Narasimhadev, why did this not work out? Everything so far has worked out. Why did this not work out? And here's a lesson for all of you, for myself also, for everyone. When you chant the Narasimha Kavacha, the ones of you who know the English, the translation, it's about yourself. Dear Lord Narasimhadev, protect me from this side, from that side, protect my knees, protect my head, protect my back, protect... It didn't say, we were chanting it fervently for about, 1.5 hours. It didn't say anywhere, protect the man in Stockholm. Right? So you have to be very, very specific. If you want Krishna, Lord Narasimhadev loves to help the devotees who are in trouble with the material world. He loves to do that. He loves to help us. If you have a problem with anything what we consider material, Lord Narasimhadev likes to help us. But you have to ask properly. You can't ask for yourself and expect that he does it for somebody else. He takes it literally, right? So be careful when you ask Krishna, when you go to Krishna and ask him something, be specific. Be very precise, be very specific. I have learned it with Lord Narasimhadev. We should have done a different prayer, maybe, but on that day we prayed for ourselves and he protects us, but he didn't protect that devotee. He didn't chant that Kavacha, right? We chanted it, we thought we were chanting it for him. Doesn't work. Lord Narasimhadev says, okay, you're sitting in front of me, you glorify me, you ask for my protection, I will give it to you. So that is, and many times Lord Narasimhadev has helped us in the BBT, at the temple in New Radhakund, at Korsnes, individually, communally, and I'm sure that he has done the same thing for many of you and for many communities in Germany as well, or wherever you are from. If you have do you have any realizations or examples? Does anyone want to speak about it? We're all a little shy, right? My little one could tell a lot, but she's shy. She doesn't want to. No, okay, all right, I accept that. We can go now to the book about Lord Narasimhadev.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Akila Prabhu. Thank you very much, Gaur Keshava Prabhu. Thank you very much, Krishna Maharaj, Bhadyanath Prabhu, Madanalasa Mataji, and also Satyanandan Maharaj and Narahari Mataji for participating, and also especially Brahma Muhurta Prabhu, who came all the way from Sweden to moderate it. Big applause. I asked him to do it because many years ago when he came, he did for the Sankirtan Festival an amazing presentation and interviewed at that time Krishna Kshetra, the brahmachari, and he always had the right question, so I thought if somebody can do it, then him. Yeah, there was a couch. It looked like a TV set up.
Magic happened on that day.
Yeah, that was incredible.
Srila Prabhupada wrote in the Bhagavad Gita in a purport, he writes about the festivities of the Pumundi. What's a Pumundi? Does anyone, if you read the Bhagavad Gita that was printed 5 years ago, English, German, wherever, Pumundi. What's a Pumundi? Nobody knows what a Pumundi is. in Sweden, I asked a devotee to go to Baladevi Bhushana because Srila Prabhupada often had Baladevi Bhushana's commentary in front of him. Lo and behold, Baladevi Bhushana speaks about the Purnima. I mentioned this at this meeting he just mentioned, and Ravinda Swarup Prabhu was sitting here. He said, "You know what?" He never knew about it. He said, "You know what? I think Srila Prabhupada said full moon day, and because he's Bengali, he says full moon day. They don't say full; they say full." So the transcriber who heard Srila Prabhupada in the headphones, he didn't understand what a full moon day is. Pumundi. It became a Pumundi. And the editors didn't know what a Pumundi is, so they left it. The Pumundi. Festivities on the Pumundi. So in this magic moment, we went back in time and we realized what Srila Prabhupada had actually dictated there in 1969-70, full moon day, not Pumundi. So that was a magical festival. That's what I remember from that one.
Thank you very much. So now I would like to ask Gopikita Mataji she actually is the master and creator of this book. It's really amazing. It's the reprint of a mantra book, corrected, enlarged, revised, plus the red section. She will explain the details, but I would like to give the book to Brahma Muhurta Prabhu. He's expert at analyzing books. So I would like you to analyze the book while Mataji is giving a short presentation, and then you see the books are there. We also have some Maha books for the panelists we have put aside that were offered at the altar today morning. So I'll distribute those books for you to look at it, and then at the end you can of course take darshan of the book and then finally get a copy from the temple shop. So Gopikita Mataji, please, a few words. Thank you.
It's very attractive. The book is very, very attractive. Now
Hare Krishna. So Brahma Muhurta Prabhu asked for miracles. I would say this book was a miracle in itself, because actually it was 10 years ago when Govindadev Prabhu was temple president that we had a big meeting with the seniors, and I still have my meeting notes of all the questions we should ask and who we should ask, all the information. I'm actually terrible with Sanskrit, so I wrote all the names down wrong, that you could almost not recognize the names. And it was a bit overwhelming 10 years ago. How do we get all this information about the history of Simhachalam? The history of Simhachalam, where many, many senior devotees are sprinkled all over the world, busy with their preaching, and they were saying, hey, give us this information. And so 10 years on, actually it was 2 years ago, someone is Satchinanda Swami, he said, Gopi Gita, you made this mantra book. There's a few errors, but maybe have something about Simhachalam and the history. Something should be spoken, a little bit of the temple. And then later on, he spoke to my husband Ramananda Gopal and myself and said, I would be willing to do interviews. I will do interviews for this book. I was like, okay, interviews. Okay, 10 years ago we spoke about this. How do we begin? So I began with, as a trained designer, a list of everything that we needed. Pictures, interviews, meetings, all the information. And I wrote the letters, wrote the information that I thought was necessary. And, I think we had one interview at the beginning. And I had a magazine from Akila Prabhu from the 1980s with some pictures, and Brahma Muhurta's great video, but from the 80s, so it's like the qualities are grainy. I thought, oh no, maybe it's a little bit too big. We have temple service here, maybe it's too much. And I prayed, and then around Nandimukhi said, I contacted Astarata Prabhu. I thought, okay, maybe it's a sign. Satchinanda Swami, okay, we have an interview. Okay, when are we going to make that interview? Okay, yes. I we can't get in touch with Gokeshava Prabhu. Okay, so also when you get a million messages from different people, when some random Gopi Gita from nowhere or from contacts you, maybe there's no response. But each time I thought maybe it's not going somewhere. Somebody sent somewhere. Through Amara Prabhu, we got to Gokeshava Prabhu. Through another devotee, we got our contact to Harikesh Swami. Many of the devotees here spoke about Harikesh Swami, and it was important, I felt, for the book that we had information. He didn't want to be interviewed live, but he gave written information around 2 months ago. So there was these interviews, and then they had to be transcribed. And I began, and there was Gokeshava Prabhu's interview. It's almost 2 hours long, with so many more details that we've spoken about today. A lot of details from amazing amount of information there. And suddenly a devotee said, "Oh, I've just been helping with a book translation." I said, "Oh, wow, could you transcribe maybe like this and maybe all of them?" "Yeah, okay, let's give it a go." "Okay, pictures. Okay, I don't have any pictures. Maybe I take pictures with a good phone of the magazine." "Okay." And Brahma Muhurta, "Yeah, we contacted him. Don't worry," someone said, "he will get back to you. It just takes some time. He's busy." "Okay, busy. Everyone is busy. Right. Okay, let's keep going." No. It's amazing. It's a part of everything. But there's no problem. I have a Hotmail account. We discussed, it was. But it was your pictures came at the end. I had grainy magazine pictures in the book, and I was praying to Lordnessingative when I give these pictures out. They imagine the fire is green, the light is green. It's not even orange anymore. This is like a dotty picture. It's not some 1970s picture. So everything, and these beautiful pictures are available. They were. Oh, thank you. Yes, this was a. Wow. And that was the joy of it, that living here by the lotus feet of Lord Narasimhadev, it's becoming easier to come and say, it's not really happening, it's not really working, I'm not sure. I have 2 small children, I'm not sure it will work. And then the prayer, he sent somebody, many of the people interviewed spoke about this letter from Srila Prabhupada. And I tried to find it on the internet everywhere. The next interview again about these letters. I was like, well, somebody spoke somewhere about it, but Prabhupada definitely said this, that the Shingadev should have his own temple building. And it was at one point I contacted Bhaktivaibhava Swami because he's in the video. Okay, he's here. And he said, sorry, I don't remember anything. I'm like, about this? No, nothing. I said, I'm really sorry, but blessings that it works out. 5 minutes after, he wrote me, somehow on an internet site, I found these letters. I had to go through around 50 of them and found from Hansadutta this letter that explains this point, and another letter that he spoke about the problems in Germany is like the fight between Prahlad Maharaj and Hiranyakashipu. Yeah. So this I have the letter there, and it was so low res, but somehow by the miracle of modern technology, we could make it a bit better resolution. So every point there was some issues, and it was amazing because somehow it was through Govindadev that the pictures came through other people. And I was quietly trying to say, it's just a small project, that it comes together. And I realized that to make something and to piece something together is really important for us younger devotees. We have no idea of that this was a barn here, or of what happened, or devotees being shot at, or what Prabhupada said. Prabhupada started it all. It's captured there in the book when you go into the information and the detail of what happened. You know, there's pictures of this straw doll that Gokeshava Prabhu speaks about, some of these precarious pictures of the devotees on the roof that somehow they managed to stay alive with. Also in this video, I tried to take some shots of where these small girls are in front of the altar. Gokeshava gives this point, okay, now everyone can come, and the girls disappear. You're not sure where, but it's like a rampage. It was really some... And this is also captured on the video, and as times move on, we see this. So the first half of this book, or first third, is on the history of Simhachalam. And I designed it in a way which was modern, because I felt it is a story from 40 years ago, but actually it's a very present and important story for us all to know. And I thank very much all of those senior devotees who were interviewed. The second part are the mantras to Kavacha, very many different mantras, and prayers to Lordnessingative, where I had a Sanskrit diacritic. I have to say my Sanskrit is so bad that he said, "Do you know that you spelt your own name wrong?" I was like, "No, but please, can you give me the correction?" And I, at every moment, asked. So he really took at least 8 weeks to go through and to somebody through Amara Prabhu. Andre, he was very, very patient.
Sanskrit is proofread.
Yes, he said he read it around 5 times, and again I checked, and he answered every silly question that I had. I told him I would mention him in a book, and he said, it's my honor to serve Lord Narasimhadev. So it was the beauty for me of how it unraveled with senior devotees, younger devotees, that it all comes together. So this is, thank you.
What an amazing book. Really, I went through it now a few times, browsing through. So nicely designed, so attractive, systematic, and if it's proofread, wow! So you can chant from it confidently. Because if you pronounce a mantra wrongly, Gokeshava Prabhu, Krishna Kshetra Prabhu, not so good, huh? Not so good. Didn't we have a really famous case somewhere in the Srimad Bhagavatam?
Well, I mentioned this the other day. Prabhupada told Jananivas Prabhu, you can chant English for the mantras, for the worship. So, yeah, he said, because he wasn't much into the Sanskrit, that's all right, you do it in English, no problem.
So when we pray to Lord Narasimhadeva from this book, we can also use the English. It doesn't have to be the Sanskrit.
Yeah, the proofreader also went through the English. Yeah, he also said it was actually that's the next step actually for next year, Nashinga Chaturdasi, that we have a translator, have a proofreader who offered himself, so it goes on to the next step. And just as I was going to print it, Satyananda Swami said to me, please Gopi Gita, I know you're tired, but get another proofreader. So suddenly 4 proofreaders came, and I kept checking it, because I found until you check and you stop finding mistakes, you can't stop. So at one moment, 5 minutes before Mangal Aarti, I was able to upload the book. And then there was more trouble. They said that the book is not coming. And it came in the end. Oh, BPT. It's all about who you know.
Your enthusiasm has made this a reality. I can see that. So thank you so much. Really good. Such a pleasure.
Hare Krishna, thank you very much. So the German version is coming out for Narasimha Chaturdasi, it's our plan. So we'll have a German version as well next year. And we're very grateful. Just one more big applause for Gopi Gita Mataji and all her effort. It really, it seems like, there's a saying that with the instruction of the guru comes the power to execute the instruction. So Satchidananda Maharaj gave the inspiration, and she certainly executed it very, very well. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Yes, so thank you very much. So now we will have the Vahana procession starting any moment. The Lord has taken this amazing meal, cakes, so many different sweets. I think over 80 preparations were prepared for today.
Where does everyone buy this book?
You can buy, is the temple shop open now? Yes. So you can go to the temple shop now.
Where's the temple shop?
The temple shop is down this hallway to the right. You will see it.
You don't sell it from here?
No, we won't sell it from here. Or if you want, how much is it, Gopikita? 15? 50. If you want to buy it now, just come, take a copy and give 15 euros. Hare Krishna. So very soon, like just in about 5 to 10 minutes, we will start with the Vahana procession ceremony. That means the small murtis will come out of the altar and we will carry them in procession around the temple building. So we need kirtaniyas, any strong men who want to help carry the Lord. Please make yourselves available outside at the entrance of the temple. And then we will we'll start with the procession. Narasimhadeva Bhagavan ki jai. Brahmotsava celebration 2022 ki jai. Sing Pranam. Willst du Sing Pranam singen?
Das ist ein Inder, der unbedingt singen würde. Das ist direkt. Musiker.
Yeah.
Would you like to sing?
I want to get some money so I can buy a few of these books. I want to bring some.
You want to try to convince you now to sing one bhajan.
Very nice to see you.
She should sing one bhajan. One bhajan.
I'm not ready.
We heard you are trained musician.
Not at all.
One bhajan.
Next time.
One bhajan?
Next time.
Just.
I'm not at all ready.
Okay, Hare Krishna. Willst du kurz singen? Naja, erstmal hier drin, bis es losgeht und dann halt rausgehen. Okay, ich habe ja nicht so viele andere Sachen, aber Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasari Gaura Bhakta Vrindam. Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Chaitanya Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Gauranga. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Narasimhadeva. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Schau mal, ob die Fackeln vom Schillerraum bereit sind. Ja. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Gauranga, Gaurasingha. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Gauranga. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Narasimhadeva. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Narasimhadeva. Om Ugram Viram Mahavishnum Jalantam Sarvatomukam Narasimham Visanam Bhadram Mrityo Namamyaham. Om Ugram Viram Mahavishnum Jalantam Sarvatomukam
Nrisingam Bisanam Bhadram Mrityo Mrityo Namamyam Praladari Dayaladam Bhakta Vidya Vidaranam Saradinduruchin Vande Parindra Varanam Harim Om Namo Bhagavate Narasimhaya Namaste Jasya Viravir Bhava Vajranaka Vajradamshra Karmashayan Randaya Tamo Grasa Om Swaha Abhayam Atmani Bhuishta Om Kshraum Om Swasti Astu Vishwasya Kala Prasidatam Dhyayantu Bhutani Shivam Mitodiya Manascha Badram Bhajata Dakshaye Avishyatam Numatira Haituki Tvayi Namaste Narasimhaya Namaste Narasimhaya Pralada Lada Daine Pralada Lada Daine Hiranyakashipa Raksha Hiranyakashipa Raksha Shilatankana Kalaye Shilatankana Kalaye Ito Narasimha Parato Narasimha Ito Narasimha Parato Narasimha Yata Yami Tata Narasimha Yata Yami Tata Narasimha Bahir Narasimha Hridaya Narasimha Narasimha Madim Sharanam Prapadye Narasimha Madim Sharanam Prapadye Tavakara Kamala Bari Nakam Advuta Singam Dalita Hiranyakasipa Danu Bringam Keshavadruta Narahari Rupa Jai Jagadisha Hare 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 Tavakara Kamala Bari Nakam Advuta Singam Dalita Hiranyakasipa Danu Bringam Kesavadruta Narahari Rupa Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare Keshavadrita Narahari Rupa Jai Jagadish Hare Jai Jagadish Hare Jai Jagadish Hare Tavakara Kamalavare Nakamaduta Singam Dalita Hiranyakasipu Tanu Bringam Keshavadruta Narahari Rupa Jai Jagadish Hare Jai Jagadish Hare Jai Jagadish Hare Der muss von
Auf dem Wachs hier hinten, ja.
Stöckchen, ja. Kesavadrita Narahari Rupa Jai Jagadish Hare Jai Jagadish Hare Jai Jagadish Hare Savadrita Narahari Rupa Jai Jagadish Hare Jai Jagadish Hare Jai Jagadish Hare Sinasinga Jaya Singa Jaya Jaya Narasimha Praladesha Jaya Padma Mukha Padma Bringam Sinasinga Jaya Narasimha Jaya Jaya Narasimha Praladesha Jaya Padma Mukha Padma Bringam Sinasinga Jaya Narasimha Jaya Jaya Narasimha Praladesha Jaya Padma Mukha Padma Bringam Sinasinga Jaya Narasimha Jaya Jaya Narasimha Praladesha Jaya Padma Mukha Padma Bringam Narasimhadeva Rivo Padma Bringam Jaya Prahlad Narasimha Prahlad Narasimha Prahlad Narasimha Jaya Prahlad Narasimha Jaya Lakshmi Narasimha Lakshmi Narasimha Lakshmi Narasimha Jaya Lakshmi Narasimha Jaya Narasimhadev, 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 Jaya Narasimhadev. Jaya Narasimhadev, 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 Jaya Narasimhadev.